code, deeper understanding of reality, which will give you more of a connection to the universe, evidence supporting the existence of this code, and how to use the binary code to shape your reality. Now, this is an important one. We have 0 and 1. This is the binary code of the universe. It underlies everything. It is the source of all creation. The universe is binary in nature, meaning it exists as both something and nothing, on and off, male and female, light and dark. Everything has its polar opposite. At its core, all that exists is 0, representing nothingness, infinite potential, and 1, representing something, order. 0 represents the feminine, vast, formless, and infinite potential. It is the space from which all things emerge, the womb of creation, the receptive and expansive force. 1 represents the masculine, structure, form, and order. It is the active principle, the initiator, the force that defines and shapes reality. Together, they create the fundamental duality that underlines existence, the balance between chaos and order, the void and creation, yin and yang. We see this in the masculine and feminine bodies. This is deeply encoded into the fabric of reality. And once you see this, you will never unsee this. So please leave a like on this video if you love my content and you love the wisdom that I share with the world. So we see this with the masculine genital areas. Remember, this is the genital area. This is all to do with creation. These are the generative principles, the generative organs in the body that allow creation to continually outfold into new life. The genital areas are all to do with the code. The male is the 1, the action. He's the initiator. The feminine is the 0, which is the infinite potential, the womb of creation. 0 and 1. This is why we have 10 numbers. 0 and 1. Masculine and feminine. We even see this in the bodies. The feminine body is made out of curves, which is 0, curves. And the masculine body is made out of lines. So please leave a like and comment if you love this. And if you have any lecture ideas, feel free and I can make a lecture on any suggestions that you have. So look at the word masculine. Masculine, line. Line is just one line, which represents order. 1. Feminine. 9. 1 and 9 equals 10. 0 and 1. The binary code of all creation. Why is feminine? Why the number 9 for feminine? Because the moon has to go around 9 times to create a human in the feminine's womb. And look at this image of nature. All nature is zeros and ones. Now you can tell the stick is a 1. It's a line, and here we have curves. It's curves and lines. Curves and lines create reality, creates matter. Everything is 0 and 1. We even see this with the sky. The sky represents zeros. They represent curves, the heavens, the heavenly bodies, the sun. These are circles, the moon, circles, the planets, circles. Down here is matter, representing the square. We have the Freemasonic square and compass, representing lines and circles, masculine and feminine. We see this with Leonardo da Vinci, with the circle representing the spirit, the void, the womb of creation, and matter, which is the body. This is the soul in matter, infinite potential in matter. This represents spirit over matter. This represents the architect of reality, zeros and ones, spirit and matter. This is all the same thing. Understanding this binary nature of the universe, where 0 feminine represents the infinite potential and 1 masculine symbolizes order and structure, can benefit you in several ways. Manifestation and creation is the first way it can benefit you. Now that you understand this, you understand that everything comes out of infinite potential. 0, infinite potential. 1, action equals manifestation equals creation. So you must pull things out of infinite potential. If you have ideas but don't take action, too much 0, nothing materializes. You'll never materialize if you sit there imagining all day, visualizing all day. You have to take action. They both come hand in hand. If you only take action without tapping into intuition and creativity, too much one, your actions may feel hollow and misdirected. Using both effectively leads to greater success in life, work, and relationships. This is the 33rd degree motto, or this is on the 33rd degree of Freemasonry Scottish Rite logo, and it's called Order Ab Chaos, order out of chaos. Chaos is the zero, infinite potential. Chaos is the dimension of the imagination. This is where this all ties in now. Imagination is the dimension of infinite potential, pure potential, formless creativity, and the realm of infinite possibilities. It is the void, the unmanifested energy that contains all that could ever be. That is the imagination. The imagination is the dimension that you are connected to, and you can pull any idea out of and materialize it into a reality. Matter, on the other hand, is order brought out of the imagination, chaos. It is when raw potential is structured, defined, and crystallized into form. This is the fundamental principle of order out of chaos, the process of turning the unseen into the seen, the abstract into the concrete, the dream into reality. That's why we say dreams into reality. Dreams are in the imagination, infinite potential, and the human mind is connected to high dimensions of consciousness, which we can pull ideas, things out of, and materialize it into our lives. Whether that's good or bad, that's completely up to you. But we have access to higher dimensions beyond the physical plane. And this is the secret that the human mind is connected to, and that you are not just a physical body. Okay? The universe itself was born from chaos. Before form, there was only energy and potential. Our minds function the same way. The mind is a microcosm of the universe. Our thoughts exist in an infinite field of possibility, but they only become real when we take action and give them form. If your inner world is filled with chaotic thoughts and impulsive emotions and negativity, then creating order within is essential for balance, clarity, and growth. What do I mean? Order out of chaos, 0 and 1. All creation comes out of infinite potential. The mind, the imagination, is the infinite potential. The material world is the order, it's the effect. Therefore, if your material world has chaos, if your room is messy, if your body is out of shape, if you do not look after yourself, everything in the physical world is just a reflection of what's going inside of you, what's going on inside of you. So if you have a messy room in a messy house, this reflects as a messy mind, a chaotic mind, and we must create order in our mind. So this applies to all realms of your life. This applies with your mind, it applies with your emotions, it applies with your manifestation, it applies with the physical world, with the masculine and feminine. Zero and one is heaven and earth. It's everything. It's duality. It's on and off. It's everything. So it applies to all realms of your life. Okay. So in order for this to benefit our lives, we must one, have awareness and observe the chaos. Step back and observe your thoughts and emotions without reacting to them. Recognize that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. You are the soul. You are in between them. You are the midpoint between the left and the right, the 0 and the 1. You are the soul. Journaling or meditation can help you identify patterns and negativity and impulsivity. So it's important that we recognize these patterns, we recognize the chaos within us, and we transmute it. 2, implement structure, mental discipline, mindful practices, meditation, breath work, and slowing down your reactions. Cognitive reframing, replace destructive thoughts with constructive ones. This is so important. For every negative thought that you place attention to, place your attention onto 5 more positive. Never think about something that you don't want to manifest, because whatever you're placing attention on inside that mental field of consciousness, you're giving attention to it. giving attention to, which then can manifest into your action, and that will materialize into your world. Routine and ritual. Create daily habits that anchor you. Morning routines, exercise, or creative outlets bring stability. We must master the inner world of thought and emotion. We must bring chaos into order. In order to create anything in your life, you're turning chaos into order, order out of chaos. You're turning 0 into 1. This is the binary code. All things underlie it, 0 and 1. So it's so important that we master our minds, we master our emotions, we master our inner world so we can produce effect in the outer world. We cannot create consciously and effectively if we have chaotic thoughts and impulsive emotions. So I hope this has made more clarity to you so you can implement this into your life. I know I haven't given you much strategic things to implement into your life, but now that you have a better understanding of how this world is pulled out of infinite potential, you can use that. Everything in your life is pulled out of your imagination. Every text you send, everything you think of, oh, I'm going to do this later. That is your imagination thinking about the future. So you just have to do this on a mass scale to create something big in your reality. So I hope this gives you a better understanding of how the universe works and has benefited your life. If you have any comments or any suggestions or how this video made you feel, let me know in the comment section. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you all inside of the Symbolism Masterclass on March the 8th. The Pope is supposedly opening 5 portals on Christmas Day. Now, I know this video is a bit late, but I'm going to be commenting on what I think this symbolism and this ritual truly means and what they are trying to do to society with this symbolic ritual. So the first thing we must understand is that everything these people do on a mass scale, all of these major events that they take place on, are all symbolic. They're all ritual. They all have purpose. Okay, so when we look at the locations of these 5 doors that are in Rome, we actually see the sigil of Lucifer when we connect the dots of all of the 5 door locations. This is the sigil of Lucifer. Lucifer is not what you think. Lucifer, sigil of Lucifer, represents the outline of the human brain and our visual perception field. Now, the human perception field is how our brain interacts with the external reality. Our external reality is not physical. The only thing that exists outside of you is pure energy, formless, vibrational energy and light. Your brain is an energy decelerator. Your brain decelerates this light, this energy, into a material reality or perception that you can interact with. You don't look into the external world. The energy, the light enters the eye retinas, goes through the optic nerve, and travels to the back of the brain called the visual cortex. And the visual cortex is what shapes your visual screen. Now, if you are seeing the screen, this means that you are not the body, you are not the brain, you are the perception observing the screen that you are seeing. You are the eye behind that, you are the person behind that. So, what this is actually symbolizing is perception. This is a symbol of perception, of perceiving the material plane, of how spirit interacts with matter. Now, what's Lucifer? Now, the word Lucifer means the light bearer. He's known as the light bearer. The word Lucifer originates in Latin. Luci means light, and fer means to bring. It's the light bringer. The eyes, the visual perception of the light bringer to your reality. You see everything outside of you as light. You are made of light. The word human means light. Hue means color, which is a form of light. And man means manifest. We're light manifested into material form. Every single one of us is Lucifer. When we fall for the material world, the external world, is an illusion. It is the false world. It can elude you. It can make you fall in love with the material things, material pleasures, lust, money, fame. These things make you fall. This is the fall of Lucifer. This is the mythological story. This is the symbolism behind Lucifer. It's you. Are you falling for material pleasure because you are a divine spiritual being from the higher planes, not from this plane? Now, if you let your divine being fall for this material plane and fall for the evil that can take place in this plane, then you are Lucifer. It represents the false light, the false reality. This symbol, the sigil of Lucifer, it symbolizes the interplay between light, consciousness, and the perceptual experience of the physical reality. The external world is truly internal. What we visually perceive is essentially light waves carrying information, which then gets processed by our brain, the central computer of our nervous system. Okay? So, how many doors are open? 5 doors. So, 5 is the number of perception as well. 5 fingers on each hand, 5 points on the human body, 5 toes on each foot. We have 5 senses. 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're spiritual numbers. 6, 7, 8, and 9, they're material numbers. 5's the gateway. 5 is the middle bridge of how our spiritual self interacts with the physical self, how spirit interacts with matter. So this ritual is symbolic of perception. This is maybe bringing in a new perception. A new event will happen after this, a new perception of the world. Or personally, I think this ritual was to obviously shape the collective consciousness because your reality is an externalization of your inner consciousness. It's simply just a mirror. Your material life, your material world outside of you is simply a mirror reflecting with mathematical and geometric precision of your internal consciousness. Your consciousness is creating and causing the effect called reality, physical reality. Your life is a result of every thought you thought in the past. Therefore, with that being said, everyone who perceives this ritual of, the Pope's opening 5 spiritual portals, who's letting in demonic energy into the world, they're going to let demonic energies and demonic spirits all in the world. Well, what if I told you the only portal they're opening is a portal in your own mind for negativity? By you believing in negative forces coming into the world and going to possess everyone, that's opening up your own mind. The collective spiritual community has been brainwashed in thinking there's going to be demonic energy. Therefore, what will happen? There will be demonic energy. Not because the Pope opened up a portal to the demonic energy, it's because everyone opened up their own minds to the demonic energy. Therefore, we as a collective consciousness shape the external world on a macrocosm scale. For example, the microcosm is your personal life. Your personal life. You have created it through consciousness. Your belief system is just externalized in your world. But on a collective scale, we all believe in money, for example. And because we all believe in money and we believe that this piece of paper holds value in our minds, okay, in the mental plane, this has an effect on the physical plane by shaping the physical plane by being ruled by this belief as on a macrocosm scale. Yes, I know that money doesn't exist. It's just a belief in my mind. But that doesn't have an effect because the collective consciousness believes that money has effect has power. When it doesn't, it's just a piece of paper with a belief behind it. If the collective consciousness stopped believing in money, then the collective consciousness would have broke the spell, and we would have no longer had a material plane ruled by money. You see, our beliefs is ruling and shaping our physical plane. This physical world outside of you is truly just an effect of the mind, an effect of our consciousness, our inner world. So I believe this ritual was done to change our perception, to make us think the Pope is bringing this spiritual energy and negative forces into the world. And it's just simply us creating the negativity in the world by believing in this, by thinking this. Remember, they have the power to send messages into millions of people's minds through media. And them messages are then believed, and that belief is shaping our world. What have I told you? That the New World Order is not manifested by the elite, it's manifested by you and us. We're all manifesting the New World Order. They can't manifest it. We can, because we are the ones believing it. We believe it. It is reality. It shapes our own prison. We're all shaping our own prison by believing in the prison, by believing in money. So this ritual was all to do with perception, creating a new perception, creating fear in our minds to, of course, distract us from what's really going on. This is all a ritual to implant messages in your own mind. So I hope you all understand this video, and I hope you all gain some insight, and I'll see you inside the university.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
Welcome people, we're back with another video. Please make sure to hit the like, the subscribe button, and turn on notifications to never miss a video. The Vatican is a giant key from a bird's eye view, and it also contains an 8-pointed star. The Anunnaki Sumerian gods also depicted this 8-pointed star. The sky god Anu from the Anunnaki also uses the 8-pointed star for his symbol. And even Freemasons depict an 8-pointed luminary with a ladder and a key. This is symbolizing the key to ascension up to the 8-pointed star, which is Polaris. Polaris is always depicted as an 8-pointed star. Polaris is the standstill star at the very center of our realm, which is perfectly aligned with the North Pole. The Earth is a giant torus field, and at the center is where the most electromagnetic energy is stored. This is why all compasses point to the north. Hence why a compass is an 8-pointed star, because it points you to Polaris, which is the North Pole, the center of this realm. The 8 points of the 8-pointed star symbolize the 8 points in space and time. So yes, Polaris is the portal which you ascend through if you outgrow this consciousness by aligning your chakras. Our earthly realm is a macrocosmic reflection of us, and we as humans are the micro reflection, with the earth containing its 7 chakras as well as us. The North Pole is the 7th chakra, which is the crown chakra. So the key to ascension is held by the Vatican, hence why it's a giant key, because they mislead the masses through their religions, which teaches the masses to look outside of themselves. As stated in the 20,000-year-old emerald tablets, written by the Egyptian god Thoth. On Earth, man is in bondage, bound by space and time to the Earth plane. Encircling each planet, a wave of vibration binds him to his plane of unfoldment. Yet within man is the key to releasement. Within man may freedom be found. So the 7 planets are associated with each 7 chakras. The lowest chakra being the root chakra, which is associated with Saturn. This is why the elites love Saturn and reflect it in all of their symbols. Because the chakras are an ascension of spiritual principles, starting from the material and ascending up to the spiritual, the crown chakra. However, evil love bondage, and they are trapping souls in the physical realm by stopping and provoking the ascension process. They do this by abusing the energy of Saturn, and Saturn is associated with the lowest chakra. The lower 3 chakras are associated with survival mode, which keeps the consciousness in a constant state of fear and only aware of its surroundings. Once you start to ascend up your chakras, you become more consciously aware of spiritual deeds. And this is the process of returning back to your true spiritual form. Going back to Polaris and its connection to ascension, Kanye West symbolizes this on his music video 24. As you see him rise up into the sky, you see an 8-pointed shape around him, which symbolizes the 8-pointed star, as you see the beam of light. And even NASA symbolize this in their Space Delta logos, a bear holding a key with an arrow up to Polaris, the 8-pointed star. Here's another NASA logo of an arrow from the Earth to Polaris. The series Lock and Key on Netflix is all about portals and doorways, and they have the Kundalini energy as one of their keys. Kundalini energy is the energy which rises up the spine, the 33 vertebrae, and activates the third eye. The third eye is the spiritual gland which connects humans to other spiritual realms. We are not the body. Our spirit, our soul inhabits the body. We exist physically, spiritually, and mentally. Therefore, we are multidimensional. The intellectual and spiritual inhabit the body. Therefore, this is just an avatar within this timeline. However, within each and every one of us, we all have the key to releasement, as says in the Emerald Tablets. This releasement is ascension, up until higher states of consciousness. As stated in the Emerald Tablets, man is in process of changing to forms that are not of this world. Grows he in time to the formless, a plane on a cycle above, and another one saying, man is a flame bound to a mountain, but we in our cycle shall ever be free. Know ye, O man, that when ye have progressed into the cycle that lengthen above, life itself will pass to the darkness, and only the essence of the soul shall remain. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and comment any subjects you want me to talk about. God bless you all.
What if dreams aren't random at all, but messages from a deeper part of yourself, trying to show you things? In this video, you're going to learn exactly what dreams are from an esoteric view, how to control dreams, and how to dream more frequently. Dreams are not nonsense. They are expressions of the subconscious mind. In the daytime, we're using our conscious mind, what we are aware of. This represents the daytime, the sun, the external world. We're operating in the external, outside the body in the day. But when we go to sleep, we return inward. Everything does this breath. We breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Everything does this in and out process in the universe. We live, we die every single day. We wake up, we express things in the external. Then at nighttime, we return back to darkness, back to the internal. This is the breath of the universe. We have summer, we have winter. This is the breath
of the sun and the seasons with the earth. You have an internal world and an external world. External is physical, the internal is spiritual. Like I said, when we go to sleep, we are returning back to the internal world of your own consciousness and subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind holds everything about you, your memories, your traumas, everything you've ever learnt, your language, your name, your job. Everything you identify with is stored within this vast network of the subconscious mind. It is your own personal consciousness. Therefore, when we dream, we return back to the subconscious mind, and we are in fact thinking, but in a subconscious way. The subconscious does not speak the same language as the conscious mind. The conscious mind uses language, thoughts, and all things that are very logical and very easy to understand. The subconscious is the complete opposite. It is very indirect, metaphorical, and symbolic. The subconscious communicates and works in symbols. Ultimately, symbolism is the language of consciousness. This is why in occultism and esotericism, it is filled with occult symbols, because symbols are used to communicate directly with the consciousness within the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is ultimately connected to the collective consciousness. We are all connected and tapping into the mental plane, where we receive thoughts, ideas, depending on what we attune our mind to. That's why we call it a mindset. But getting back on topic, the subconscious mind is your own personal network. It is like a net, an interconnected web of your thoughts, memories, traumas, emotional blockages, and all the things you identify with and have experienced in your life is stored within this network. It can be seen as a web. One example of the subconscious mind using symbolism is this next story I can tell you. Let's say I was in a very traumatic car crash as a young child. I experienced a lot of emotional trauma in that car, and that deeply impressed my subconscious mind with that trauma of emotion that I felt. Therefore, every time I see a car in my external world, that car is now a symbol that represents the state of consciousness I was feeling in that particular time of the traumatic car crash. The car is a symbol for a state of consciousness within my subconscious mind. Just like when you see a word, that word triggers what you believe that word to be in your subconscious mind. Symbols are the language of the subconsciousness. Therefore, when we dream, we are basically seeing symbols of our own personal subconscious mind. Our higher mind, which is basically our subconscious, the higher version of you that exists beyond your human thinking mind, communicates using symbolism. The higher mind does not speak human thoughts, human language. It speaks the language of symbolism. Therefore, when we dream, every event, every person, everything that happens, and everything you see is your own personal subconscious mind materializing within the plane of the astral plane. This is a dimension that sits just above the physical world that everything is pulled out of. For example, look around you. Everything you see around you was thought, then imagined. Imagination is the astral plane, and this astral plane sits above the physical world. As above, so below. These objects were thought, imagined within someone's mind, and then pulled into a physical reality. Therefore, the imagination is what you're experiencing within a dream. It is your subconscious mind thinking and materializing within the imaginative plane. For example, let's say you are a Christian, you believe in Jesus your whole life, you have lots of emotion towards Jesus. This deeply impresses your subconscious mind. You believe in him so much, you go to sleep, you have a dream that you meet Jesus. You did not meet directly with Jesus. You met with your own belief. It was your own belief materializing within the imaginative plane and revealing itself to you. Dreams are materializations of your memories, your subconscious beliefs, traumas, and anything that could be inside the subconscious mind. It is your subconsciousness revealing itself to you in a material form. Let's say you have a nightmare. There is a big dark figure chasing you and you are running away in fear, away from this dark figure chasing you. That dark figure is not an external entity. It is not a spirit or a jinn or a demon. It is in fact an aspect of your own mind. It is a symbol that represents maybe a fear, a trauma, or something you are running away from internally, inside your subconscious mind. Something that you are not addressing, but something that is fearful, something that can be controlling you on a subconscious level. Let's say you have a fear to address something in your personal life.
You want to address someone who is getting on your nerves at work. You continuously put this off and you fear doing that situation. Over a long period of time, this can slowly control you subconsciously. You start to avoid the person, avoid any contact. It is subconsciously controlling you. This is not the best example, but you can see what I mean. Hidden fears and traumas in the subconscious mind can subconsciously control your actions and ultimately lead you to low states of consciousness, keep you from reaching your higher potential, and ultimately create blockages within your own consciousness. That figure in the dream is a materialization of something that you are fearing and running away from and not addressing. This is why people always have dreams of traumas that they have experienced as a child or when they were younger, or maybe from a year ago or two. It's because that emotion is deeply impressed in the subconscious, and the subconscious is always trying to reveal things to you, communicate to you that you need to change, purify, and maybe heal within your own consciousness. This is how the higher self communicates to you, through the language of symbolism. Once you understand this, dreams can become a very powerful tool, not just entertainment at nighttime. Your consciousness never rests. Your consciousness is eternal. It is the very spark of the divine. Your body needs rest. Your consciousness is not physical. It does not need rest. So this is a way you can identify what your dreams are trying to show you, is by writing them down. A dream journal. Every single dream that you have a book placed near your bed. Every time you wake up, first thing you should do is pick up the book and write every single detail that you can remember about the dream. The people that you met are all symbols or aspects of yourself. Maybe it is a friend you saw in your dream. That friend represents a state of consciousness that is within you and is trying to reveal something to you. It's about making the subconscious into the conscious, to become conscious of the unknown. Write down every detail, everything you saw, every event that played out, even the details of the clothes that they were wearing. Everything is symbolic within dreams. Write everything down and then analyze the dream. Don't analyze it from a logical mind. Analyze it with the right hemisphere of the brain, which allows you to see metaphors, read between the line. Try and gain the message that it's trying to show you. What does this overall mean to you? And what could this reveal about aspects of yourself that you need to heal or maybe take action in your life and world? Because your higher self is always guiding you towards awakening and fulfilling your mission in the manifested physical world. Dreams speak in symbols, not logic. Ask about your dreams. What is this trying to tell me? Don't take things literally. Look for an emotional tone and symbolic resonance. With practice, you'll begin to understand the personal language of your subconscious mind. Now that you understand that, again, please leave a like or a comment on this video. This is now a technique for lucid dreaming and dreaming more often. This is not going to happen overnight. This is not an easy method. It simply takes practice and dedication. Every morning, choose 3 time slots. For me, I choose 4:30, 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. 3 alarms that are going to go off at these 3 times, half an hour apart from each other. Each time you wake up, stay awake for 5 to 10 minutes. Turn off the alarm. Try and keep your conscious mind awake, but drift back into sleep. There's no other better way for me to explain that. It's very difficult, but try and keep the mind awake, but the body falling back asleep. More than likely, you will drift off back to sleep. Then the next alarm will go off half an hour after. This will wake you up again, guaranteed. You will probably drift back to sleep by repeating this process. After the 3 alarms go off, each one of them times, you're either going to have a dream or a lucid dream, but definitely you will have a dream. And if it doesn't work one time, keep trying it. I've been using this method for a very long time, and I can tell you 70-80% of the time it triggers a dream, and a very vivid dream. And it's ideal for lucid dreaming because keeping the conscious mind awake while letting the body fall asleep, you can become conscious within these subconscious realms of your mind. But when you are conscious inside the dream world, you can do what you want, but you also want to let the dream naturally unfold. If you try and take too much control, then you will wake back up. If you feel any fear in your dream, you will wake back up into the material world. Another tip to dream more often is to meditate before bed. Simply close your eyes and think about nothing for 5 to 30 minutes. Detach from everything outside you, your name, your job, work, thoughts. Mentally detach from the world and the physical pleasures and become pure awareness before you try and go to sleep. This will help you become conscious while being within the self. If you wish to learn more about consciousness, yourself, the Book of Wisdom Volume 2 can definitely help you. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. What if the word Yahweh is proof that God is embedded in our very own being? Stay with me because what I'm about to show you might change the way you see yourself forever. Today's topic is decoding the mystery name of Yahweh, the sacred name of God from the Hebrews. By the end of this video, you'll uncover the true meaning of the word Yahweh and how your connection to it unlocks your own personal power. When we look at the word Yahweh in Hebrew, we flip it on its side. We're actually looking at the human body. These are the legs, this is the torso, here are the arms, and here's the head. So if we actually switch this on its side, we see the human body. The Hebrew name Yahweh often translates to I am, the I am. Now, what is the I am? The I am, when you say I, you're referring to your highest self. Everything with the letter I in the beginning, most of them words are referring to our inner self, inside, intelligence, internal, in. The I represents the inside self, the invisible self. You cannot see the I am because this is the spirit, this is our consciousness. It's the intelligence controlling the human body. When you say I, you're not referring to your name, your job, your reputation, your ego, or your thoughts. You're referring to the observer who is beyond the thoughts, the one who's observing the thoughts. That's the soul. Look at the word Yahweh, Yahweh, the sacred name of God. Yahweh can be observed in the natural rhythm of the human breath. When inhaling, we subtly hear Yah. When exhaling, we hear Way. Do this yourself. Breathe in through your nose, you'll hear Yah. Breathe out, you'll hear Way. And in fact, the letter H, H, when it's pronounced, it carries the soft sound of wind or breath, a gentle exhale that mirrors the very essence of life, giving air. Breath is the spirit of life. It's what connects us with consciousness. If we stop breathing, we lose consciousness. The body shuts down. We're breathing the spirit of breath. We're breathing in the spirit of life. It's the very essence that gives us physical existence, and we're constantly staying connected to this breath at all times. Now let's look at Yahweh. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 letters. The tetragrammaton is the 4-letter Hebrew name for God. Okay? Tetra meaning 4. We have 4 gospels of Jesus. Jesus is depicted with a cross with 4 sections. Jesus has the 4 sacred animals around the side of him, always depicted with these 4. A bull or an ox, an eagle, a man, and a lion. These are the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. Aquarius, the man, Scorpio, the eagle, Leo, the lion, Taurus, the bull or the ox, which are related to the elements. Leo is a fire sign. Aquarius is an air sign. Taurus is an earth sign. Scorpio is a water sign. These are the 4 elements. And the 4 elements correspond to the 4 bodies of consciousness, as we see here. This is fire. This is air. This is water. This is earth. So we are made out of the 4 elements, which represent the 4 bodies of consciousness: mind, emotion, spirit, and body. The soul is incarnated into 4 sections. Hence why Jesus has 4 gospels. Hence why Yahweh is a 4-named word, because we are tetraform. We have 4 bodies of consciousness. There are 4 pillars to reality: the mind, emotion, spirit, and the body. So what we're actually looking at here is the name of the very essence of the self. Yahweh represents the universal consciousness that we're all tapped into, because the body is like a radio. The body is basically a radio antenna, which is picking up the stream of consciousness, and we're all the same consciousness, just experiencing it in a different body. And Yahweh is the name for this intelligence that we're all acting out, that we're all manifestations of. So now let's look at the word Yahweh, where we read it this way in Hebrew, which is 10565. 10565 in the Hebrew letters and the numerical values. And the DNA is made up of 4 bases. These 4 things which create the DNA. This basis is the genetic code for all living things. Each DNA strand is held together by sulfur bridges that appear in a repeating pattern of 10, 5, 6, 5. This pattern matches the numerical value of the Hebrew letters of Yahweh, Yod, He, Vah, He, which are 10, 5, 6, 5. This means the structure of DNA, the code of life, follows the same number sequence as the sacred name of God, Yahweh. This is a factual observation. So we're looking at 10, 5, 6, 5. So let's look over this one more time. Yahweh represents the breath. Yahweh, inhale, exhale. It translates to I am. It's written in our DNA. The word Yahweh on its side looks like the human body. Now, this is where things get a little bit deeper. 10, 5, 6, 5 adds up to 26. The number God, well, the word God adds up to 26. Allah adds up to 26. There are 206 bones in the human body, 26. 26 adds up to 8. 8 is the number of infinity. We are all the infinite consciousness. Consciousness will never die. It's immortal. It's infinite. We are all infinite. We are not these skeletal structures. We are Yahweh, the universal consciousness. The creator of all things is our essence. We're all God with individual identities, but the highest versions of ourselves is God. The ego is our own personal experience of God. Does this make sense? So in conclusion, Yahweh is not the name of a separate God from us, but rather the reflection of the divine consciousness manifesting through the human form. The human body is like a receiver acting as an antenna that tunes into the infinite intelligence and life force we call consciousness or God. This means that rather than being external, the divine presence is within us, expressed through our very existence. It's very interesting when we look into this, and what religion has done has flipped all of this knowledge. All of this sacred knowledge has been externalized. They've externalized God so that we worship God and we view God as something separate from the human experience. They do this so that we don't find the God within us, so that we don't find that we have the power of creation. The mind is the creative force of God. The body is the will to act out that thought. They don't want us to figure out that we are creators and we're all creating our own earthly experience. We're all projecting this reality. And they don't want us connecting with the divine intelligence within us because they want to be the creators. They want to keep this knowledge. They don't want the masses to wake up to this powerful knowledge. So what they've done is that they've taken the scriptures, they've externalized it so that we start worshiping and giving away our power to these external things. And when God is external, we start to fear God because we start to think that God has power over us. He can send us to hell or heaven. So this is what's going on. They've been externalizing this for thousands of years to keep us in a suppressed state. Okay. Humans are very advanced because we possess self-awareness. We possess the ability to move our awareness and our thoughts outside of the instinctual nature. For example, a cat or a dog. These things can only live in their instinct. They live based on instinct. They smell, they eat. That's pretty much what they do. But humans, we have the ability to rise above that nature and turn to our infinite selves, our higher selves. We can move beyond our instinctual nature and create very advanced things. That's why humans are made in the image of Yahweh. We are literally God in human form. So this is what we all need to realize. And I hope this video has helped. Please leave a like, a comment on inside of the description. I'll have some links to my books and my university. The people who have read them have just absolutely changed their lives. You could probably see that in the comment sections if someone leaves a review of the book. We also have Trustpilot. But yeah, I thank you all, and I'll see you in the next one. What if dreams aren't random at all, but messages from a deeper part of yourself trying to show you things? In this video, you're going to learn exactly what dreams are from an esoteric view, how to control dreams, and how to dream more frequently. Dreams are not nonsense. They are expressions of the subconscious mind. In the daytime, we're using our conscious mind, what we are aware of. This represents the daytime, the sun, the external world. We're operating in the external, outside the body in the day. But when we go to sleep, we return inward. Everything does this breath. We breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Everything does this in and out process in the universe. We live, we die every single day. We wake up, we express things in the external. Then at nighttime, we return back to darkness, back to the internal. This is the breath of the universe. We have summer, we have winter. This is the breath of the sun and the seasons with the earth. You have an internal world and an external world. External is physical, the internal is spiritual. Like I said, when we go to sleep, we are returning back to the internal world of your own consciousness and subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind holds everything about you, your memories, your traumas, everything you've ever learnt, your language, your name, your job, everything you identify with is stored within this vast network of the subconscious mind. It is your own personal consciousness. Therefore, when we dream, we return back to the subconscious mind, and we are in fact thinking, but in a subconscious way. The subconscious does not speak the same language as the conscious mind. The conscious mind uses language, thoughts, and all things that are very logical and very easy to understand. The subconscious is the complete opposite. It is very indirect, metaphorical, and symbolic. The subconscious communicates and works in symbols. Ultimately, symbolism is the language of consciousness. This is why in occultism and esotericism, it is filled with occult symbols, because symbols are used to communicate directly with the consciousness within, the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is ultimately connected to the collective consciousness. We are all connected and tapping into the mental plane, where we receive thoughts, ideas, depending on what we attune our mind to. That's why we call it a mindset. But getting back on topic, the subconscious mind is your own personal network. It is like a net, an interconnected web of your thoughts, memories, traumas, emotional blockages, and all the things you identify with and have experienced in your life is stored within this network. It can be seen as a web. One example of the subconscious mind using symbolism is this next story I can tell you. Let's say I was in a very traumatic car crash as a young child. I experienced a lot of emotional trauma in that car, and that deeply impressed my subconscious mind with that trauma of emotion that I felt. Therefore, every time I see a car in my external world, that car is now a symbol that represents the state of consciousness I was feeling in that particular time of the traumatic car crash. The car is a symbol for a state of consciousness within my subconscious mind. Just like when you see a word, that word triggers what you believe that word to be in your subconscious mind. Symbols are the language of the subconsciousness. Therefore, when we dream, we are basically seeing symbols of our own personal subconscious mind. Our higher mind, which is basically our subconscious, the higher version of you that exists beyond your human thinking mind, communicates using symbolism. The higher mind does not speak human thoughts, human language. It speaks the language of symbolism. Therefore, when we dream, every event, every person, everything that happens, and everything you see is your own personal subconscious mind materializing within the plane of the astral plane. This is a dimension that sits just above the physical world that everything is pulled out of. For example, look around you. Everything you see around you was thought, then imagined. Imagination is the astral plane, and this astral plane sits above the physical world. As above, so below. These objects were thought, imagined within someone's mind, and then pulled into a physical reality. Therefore, the imagination is what you're experiencing within a dream. It is your subconscious mind thinking and materializing within the imaginative plane. For example, let's say you are a Christian, you believe in Jesus your whole life, you have lots of emotion towards Jesus. This deeply impresses your subconscious mind. You believe in him so much, you go to sleep, you have a dream that you meet Jesus. You did not meet directly with Jesus. You met with your own belief. It was your own belief materializing within the imaginative plane and revealing itself to you. Dreams are materializations of your memories, your subconscious beliefs, traumas, and anything that could be inside the subconscious mind. It is your subconsciousness revealing itself to you in a material form. Let's say you have a nightmare. There is a big dark figure chasing you and you are running away in fear, away from this dark figure chasing you. That dark figure is not an external entity. It is not a spirit or a jinn or a demon. It is in fact an aspect of your own mind. It is a symbol that represents maybe a fear, a trauma, or something you are running away from internally, inside your subconscious mind. Something that you are not addressing, but something that is fearful, something that can be controlling you on a subconscious level. Let's say you have a fear to address something in your personal life. You want to address someone who is getting on your nerves at work. You continuously put this off and you fear doing that situation. Over a long period of time, this can slowly control you subconsciously. You start to avoid the person, avoid any contact. It is subconsciously controlling you. This is not the best example, but you can see what I mean. Hidden fears and traumas in the subconscious mind can subconsciously control your actions and ultimately lead you to low states of consciousness, keep you from reaching your higher potential, and ultimately create blockages within your own consciousness. That figure in the dream is a materialization of something that you are fearing and running away from and not addressing. This is why people always have dreams of traumas that they have experienced as a child or when they were younger, or maybe from a year ago or two. It's because that emotion is deeply impressed in the subconscious, and the subconscious is always trying to reveal things to you, communicate to you that you need to change, purify, and maybe heal within your own consciousness. This is how the higher self communicates to you, through the language of symbolism. Once you understand this, dreams can become a very powerful tool, not just entertainment at night time. Your consciousness never rests. Your consciousness is eternal. It is the very spark of the divine. Your body needs rest. Your consciousness is not physical. It does not need rest. So this is a way you can identify what your dreams are trying to show you is by writing them down. A dream journal. Every single dream that you have a book placed near your bed. Every time you wake up, first thing you should do is pick up the book and write every single detail that you can remember about the dream. The people that you met are all symbols or aspects of yourself. Maybe it is a friend you saw in your dream. That friend represents a state of consciousness that is within you and is trying to reveal something to you. It's about making the subconscious into the conscious, to become conscious of the unknown. Write down every detail, everything you saw, every event that played out, even the details of the clothes that they were wearing. Everything is symbolic within dreams. Write everything down and then analyze the dream. Don't analyze it from a logical mind. Analyze it with the right hemisphere of the brain, which allows you to see metaphors, read between the line. Try and gain the message that it's trying to show you. What does this overall mean to you? And what could this reveal about aspects of yourself that you need to heal or maybe take action in your life and world? Because your higher self is always guiding you towards awakening and fulfilling your mission in the manifested physical world. Dreams speak in symbols, not logic. Ask about your dreams. What is this trying to tell me? Don't take things literally. Look for an emotional tone and symbolic resonance. With practice, you'll begin to understand the personal language of your subconscious mind. Now that you understand that, again, please leave a like or a comment on this video. This is now a technique for lucid dreaming and dreaming more often. This is not going to happen overnight. This is not an easy method. It simply takes practice and dedication. Every morning, choose 3 time slots. For me, I choose 4:30, 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. 3 alarms that are going to go off at these 3 times, half an hour apart from each other. Each time you wake up, stay awake for 5 to 10 minutes. Turn off the alarm. Try and keep your conscious mind awake, but drift back into sleep. There's no other better way for me to explain that. It's very difficult, but try and keep the mind awake, but the body falling back asleep. More than likely, you will drift off back to sleep. Then the next alarm will go off half an hour after. This will wake you up again, guaranteed. You will probably drift back to sleep by repeating this process. After the 3 alarms go off, each one of them times, you're either going to have a dream
or a lucid dream, but definitely you will have a dream. And if it doesn't work one time, keep trying it. I've been using this method for a very long time, and I can tell you 70-80% of the time it triggers a dream, and a very vivid dream. And it's ideal for lucid dreaming because keeping the conscious mind awake while letting the body fall asleep, you can become conscious within these subconscious realms of your mind. But when you are conscious inside the dream world, you can do what you want, but you also want to let the dream naturally unfold. If you try and take too much control, then you will wake back up. If you feel any fear in your dream, you will wake back up into the material world. Another tip to dream more often is to meditate before bed. Simply close your eyes and think about nothing for 5 to 30 minutes. Detach from everything outside you, your name, your job, work, thoughts. Mentally detach from the world and the physical pleasures and become pure awareness before you try and go to sleep. This will help you become conscious while being within the self. If you wish to learn more about consciousness yourself, the Book of Wisdom Volume 2 can definitely help you. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Neo is plugged into the matrix on the back of his neck. And if we look at the human brain, the back of the neck is the reptilian brain stem. And when one operates their life out of the reptilian brain stem, they are unaware, unconscious. They are consciously dead because the reptilian brain does not really critically think. It acts on instinct, fight or flight mode. This is considered in the occult spiritually dead. When one is taking actions without intention, simply very reactive to life. They're not living, they're simply experiencing. When you're walking down the street and you see someone, and in your mind you think me versus them versus me, that is an animalistic way of thinking. I used to be trapped in this way of thinking, always thinking of fight or flight, always judging people, always reacting to the world, never consciously creating and commanding with intention in the world. This could be considered the matrix when one lives unconsciously, simply surviving in the world. Another symptom of living in the reptilian brain could be obsession, a constant need to assert your power over others to feel safe or superior. Views relationships as power hierarchies, not as mutual connections. It could be a conquest for sex, lust, seeking validation through sexual activity. Sex becomes a tool for dominance, escape, and self-worth. Intimacy is avoided. Pleasure is pursued without emotional depth. Seeking pleasure all the time. This is all to do with the reptilian brain. Seeking safety. It could be compulsive eating or food hoarding, driven by craving and not actual hunger. Eats to soothe fear or emotional discomfort, often unconsciously. This is the unconscious. Fear-based decision-making. Every choice is shaped by perceived threat or insecurity or fear within the subconscious mind. Long-term vision is sacrificed for immediate safety and gratification. All the reptilian brain. Territorial behavior overacts when personal space, possessions, or status is threatened. Acts as though survival depends on ownership or status. Addiction repeats patterns to feel safe, even if they are harmful. Avoids anything unfamiliar or unpredictable. Low empathy. No empathy or emotional care for one another and for fellow beings in the world. Sees people as threats, tools, or competitors. This is all to do with the reptilian brain. Intense jealousy or possessiveness. Sees others as rivals or objects to control. Cannot tolerate perceived threats to loyalty or status. Quick to be angry. Slow to reflect. Reacts with rage, withdrawal when challenged. Lacks emotional regulation or deep self-awareness. So this is considered, this brain could be considered the matrix, hence why Neo is plugged into this brain. He's operating the life out of this brain, unconscious, simply navigating life like an animal. I was in this state, and you can only really realize this when you come out of this brain and you start to function from the higher regions of the brain, which we will discuss very soon. And my life was chaos because there was chaos operating internally. I was never thinking about the future. I was always operating life out of fear, out of lack, never had care for another person. When you operate life out of this brain, the matrix, things outside you can easily easily control you. This is why they keep us in a constant state of fear. So we operate life out of this. So we never gain full control over our reality, over our actions, over our thoughts. So Neo is called Neo, and he works at a place called meta cortex, very symbolic of the neocortex, the higher region of the brain. Now, this brain makes you human. It ultimately allows you to hold control over the animal urges, okay? The neocortex is the brain that allows you to have self-mastery, that allows you to control your urges, your instinctual survival urges. So humans can overcome their reptilian animalistic state and start to operate their life in a conscious mastery state. And Neo is plugged out of the reptilian brain, and he starts to use his neocortex, the human brain. This allows one to learn to have self-control, allows one to create, allows one to think about others. It allows one to critically think deeply. It allows one to be self-aware. Who am I? Where did I come from? And where am I going? This is ultimately the brain that has shaped the world. We look at humans. We built technology. We built all of these amazing things. They all come from the neocortex. This is the higher region of the brain that allows consciousness to function on a higher degree. It allows you to truly become a creator and have self-control instead of living in a reactive animal state. You see, animals are only aware of their five senses. They're only aware of surviving. If you notice, look at animals, they're always looking around. Even in their home, they're always looking around, sniffing around. That's because they operate in an animalistic brain. Humans have the neocortex. This is a higher region of the brain, which if you wish to master yourself, this is the brain that you will be using. This allows you to operate life on a higher degree. We see this reptilian brain symbolized everywhere. See it as reptiles. Reptiles are symbols of this brain. We see the Egyptian god Osiris with the green skin representing a reptile, a crocodile. Sometimes we see Osiris depicted in Egyptian artwork with crocodiles or reptiles, if you do a little bit of research on that. And also, if we look at the overall symbolism of Osiris and his story, we notice that he is the god of the dead or the underworld. This is not literal, but the dead or the god of the death, the god of the death of self, the dead of consciousness, because you are a divine being with limitless potential to create. And ultimately, to create, we have to master our reptilian brain. But when we function from this reptilian brain, we are dead to our higher powers of creation, of imagination, of actually gaining control and operating life from the higher mind, operating life as the divine being as you are. But if you operate life in Osiris, he is the god of dead. You are spiritually and consciously dead. You act unconsciously. You are dead, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. So what we're looking at here in the Egyptian artwork is the reptilian brainstem. We have the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain. Notice a curve. The feminine body is very curvy. This represents feminine. The masculine body is very liney. So if we study geometry, we know that lines are masculine, hence why the word masculine, line, and the feminine body is, in geometry, feminine is represented as curves. So this is the left masculine brain on the left side, and this is the right feminine brain on the right side, with Osiris, the reptilian brainstem, in the middle. So we're going to go deeper into some Mesopotamian artwork now. Now let's have a look at this. We're looking at the reptile on the very bottom. We see the left brain and the right brain, the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus on the left and right. In Freemasonry, we still see the symbolism of the two pillars, Yakin and Boaz in Freemasonry, with the two pillars symbolizing masculine, feminine forces of consciousness, also representing the masculine left brain and the feminine right brain, with the reptile down here. But if we have a little look here, right, we have a little look at these reptiles. This person is standing on top of
the reptiles. When you are on top of something, you have power over the below. You are standing atop of something. You have mastery over it. You have control over it, symbolizing gaining control over the reptilian brain, the reactive actions, the sexual urges, the addictions, the territorial behavior, the fear-based decisions, constant internal tension, never being able to focus. It's symbolizing gaining control over these internal qualities that happen within us, in our mind, because the universe is mental. And if we do not gain control over this brain, it will dominate our mind, which will ultimately dominate our actions and destroy our life and live in an unconscious state. So this is basically instructions in this ancient Mesopotamian artwork of becoming self-mastery, to operate on a God consciousness level. So we have a person symbolizing your awareness, the internal you, having mastery over the reptilian urges, the reptilian brain, the reptile thinking. We have a person, a face in between, and it's standing in between these pillars, symbolizing balance of the brain hemispheres. Because the face, we see the eyes in the middle, we see the person is you, your consciousness, standing in the middle pillar. So representing seeing reality as neutral. Everything in the world is neutral. It's the mind's perception that gives it a positive or negative charge. When we adapt this mindset, this view of reality, this knowingness of reality, we see the world for what it truly is. And if you see things as neutral, it allows one to transform the situations in your life accordingly, instead of simply choosing a side. This is a major problem in society, and this was a problem within myself also. We like to choose sides, and choosing sides can keep your consciousness locked in a certain mindset, in a certain belief. And belief is what is ultimately destroying humanity. It's about knowingness, and knowingness is in the middle. We want to seek to know things. Knowing things allows you to go out there, directly experience it, and know it for yourself. For example, I know I'm not on a spinning global ball flying through space. Why? Because my senses tell me I'm not doing that. My senses tell me I'm not going 1,000 miles per hour and 360,000 miles per hour through space while spinning around the sun. I know that because I know myself. I know I'm not my body because I've had direct mystical experiences beyond the physical body. So we should seek to know things, and that's what we call gnosis, direct knowledge obtained through direct experience, knowingness. And that is a middle pillar quality. So in Freemasonry, we see the middle pillar. The matrix is designed to give you two wings all the time. Democrats, Republicans, feminism, and then there's another side. There's always two sides that they're giving you because they want you locked in either way, which is seek the middle pillar, seeing things as neutral, seeing things as the middle pillar, seeking direct experience, gnosis. And this aligns with the brain because the brain gives us these two perceptions also. The right brain sees the woods, the whole woods, but the left brain sees the individual trees and branches and leaves. If we're too left hemisphered, we're going to see everything as divided. If you're too left hemisphered, you're only going to see yourself. You're only going to think about me, myself, my ego, my consciousness, my life. And I'm only going to operate in the world, take actions only towards me without considering the collective, which is the right hemisphere quality. The right hemisphere allows you to see the bigger picture, how we're all connected. We're all one family of consciousness. We're all one being separated in different bodies, one consciousness operating in different bodies. So it's about aligning these perceptions of the brain and standing in the middle, and also conquering the reptilian brain. This allows us to operate in the world and see the world for what it truly is and operate from a place of balance. We also see some more symbolism in Egypt of the Ram Sphinx in Egypt. Ram Sphinx. Please leave a comment and please leave a like and a subscribe onto the YouTube if you like my content. Smash that like button and we'll get straight to this. So this is the Ram Sphinx in Egypt, also symbolizing the brain. This is my research. These are my conclusions. You can take this with a pinch of salt and go out and do your own research. This is what makes sense to me based off my information I've gained, my symbolism that I can read. So take what you can from it. I'm not here to obstruct anything. I'm not here to place anything in your mind. I'm simply here expressing my research. Never take anything off anyone as solid truth. I've never have said everything I say is solid truth. This is my research. If the research aligns with you, that's great. Maybe it doesn't with some people, that's fine. Simply take things things with a pinch of salt, go out and collect as much research and information from many different sources and place together your own understanding of symbolism and your own perspective on reality. But like I say, seek to know and not believe. So this is the Ram Sphinx in Egypt. This is a more powerful symbolism of the brain. We have Osiris here, the god of the dead, which is the reptilian brain, and an Aries symbol here symbolizing the hippocampus in the brain. So this is the reptilian brain stem, heavily aligned with the reptilian brain stem here. We can see the connections if we look closely. So this represents the dead of consciousness. This is the dead of self, living in impulsive animalistic state, the symptoms that I listed earlier. I'm not going to go over the symptoms again. And Aries symbolizes the hippocampus in the middle of the brain. This is the hippocampus. And Aries is a symbol of a state of being. Why? You see, ancients and the ancient Egyptians, according to my research, Freemasons still use this symbolism today. So what they do is they use the path of the sun to symbolize a state of consciousness or a journey in consciousness. So what do I mean? So Aries here is the transition from the winter arc. So this is the winter arc from Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. This is when the sun is dead. This is when the electromagnetic waves of the sun are not very present. This is the winter. This is when there's more darkness in the world. However, from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and to Libra, this is when the sun is giving more electromagnetic rays. Everything grows. Everything is reborn again. Everything's growing. There's more light. There's more warmth. You can grow crops. So this is very symbolic as a state of consciousness. Aries is used heavily to represent the rebirth of the sun, but internally as an esoteric interpretation of Aries, it symbolizes the resurrection of awakening of the self. It is the rebirth of the sun, of the soul, the rebirth of becoming aware out of the darkness into the light, living in the reptilian unconscious state, the unconscious, not being aware that I possess consciousness, not being aware of my thought, emotion, actions. And Aries is that symbol, is of the rebirth of the spirit, the rebirth of the self, becoming self-aware. So that's what we're looking at here with the Ram Sphinx. We're looking at Osiris, dead, the reptilian brain, operating life in an unconscious state, not really thinking, not self-aware of thought, emotion, actions, not aware of the soul, not aware of good and evil, not aware of the laws that are in the heart of love, not aware that there's always an intelligence in the heart telling us what's the right thing to do at all times, not aware of anything, just simply reacting to the world. But then we have a symbol of Aries above, which is the resurrection of self. So again, this is symbolizing by the Egyptians to me and my research, going from darkness to light. This is the resurrection of consciousness when we start to deepen our self-awareness, which is ultimately what I'm doing to you in these videos. Hopefully I can awaken some people's minds and make people think deeper. And that process of internally what's happening within you that's what Aries represents when you're starting to say, wow, my mind's going deeper and deeper into the self, and I'm realizing more. That is what Aries symbolizes. When the sun returns, it's also a symbol of a sacrifice, because obviously when the sun returns back to Aries, we're sacrificing the winter, when we're transitioning, and all transitions require sacrifice. So in Aries, the Jews celebrate the Passover. It's the Passover of the sun, and what do? They eat lambs in the Passover Aries, because it's all symbolic of this internal process. In Aries, Christians celebrate with the Easter, which is the resurrection of Jesus, the resurrection of the sun. Remember, it goes deeper. There's deeper layers to this. It's the resurrection of the self and the mind deepening into a deeper awakening. So again, we're going from the lower regions of the brain, and when we start to critically think and become self-aware, we're starting to use the mid part of the brain, and the mid part of the brain then expands into the neocortex, which is the resurrection of the self. The mind is no longer functioning in just the reptilian brain, but then it's going into the light of the higher brain, the neocortex, and this is the reptilian brain. This is the midbrain, what we're looking at here with the Ram Sphinx here. So this is the resurrection. It's the transition point of going from the reptilian brain into the midbrain, into the neocortex. We're now resurrecting ourselves. Now, this is not putting anything negative on the reptilian brain. Without the reptilian brain, we wouldn't be able to live. We need the reptilian brain, but it's an abuse of the reptilian brain that can keep us in a very low state. It keeps us stuck in an unconscious state. But the reptilian brain is what's allowing you to breathe, to eat, to scan the environment for any threats. If there are threats, we do need the reptilian brain. That's not to say it's evil, but what I'm saying is an abuse of this brain, which is what most people are stuck in. They're operating their life out of this brain. And this is what the Egyptians, I think, are symbolizing, trying to tell us to resurrect ourselves, to become self-mastered, to become the highest version of yourself, to actively create in the world. Because when we are only operating from this brain, we're unconscious, well, then other people can use you as a vessel to create their reality. This is how the world is at the moment. The ones who know how to use the mind are controlling the other ones who do not know how to control the mind. So I hope this makes sense to you. Let me know if you have any video recommendations, and I'll see you inside Ethereum University. If you wish to take your research to the next level, I have things inside of there that are very powerful. We happily invite you. I'll see you inside of Join. If not, I'll see you in the next YouTube video.
Matthew 21:1, Jesus went into the temple of God. Corinthians 3:16, do you not know that you are the temple of God? Now, what is this telling you? That God is within you. Hence why in Luke 21:12 it tells you the kingdom of God is within you. And the side of your head region is called a temple for a reason. Because the brain encapsulates the mind. The brain is a physical manifestation of the mind. The heart is a physical manifestation of emotion. So we have these different layers of our consciousness. We have an intellectual, communicative aspect of our consciousness, which we would call the mind. We have an emotional aspect of our consciousness, which is the heart. And to communicate with the divine, it's all to do with the mind. Hence why the ancients always symbolize the mind being God. This is why Michelangelo always placed God inside of the brain on top of Sistine Chapel in the middle of the Vatican. He understood that God is in the brain. God is within you, not outside of you. The church tells you that God is in the sky because they are creating a externalization of the truth to create a business and a distraction so that you don't find the divinity within you, so that you don't find your power. Now you have Adam, the physical man, the physical body, the ego, the lower self, and he is resting. He's not trying to reach to God, but God is reaching because the higher consciousness within you is always trying to communicate with you. It's always trying to wake you up to your divinity. But the lower mind, the lower self, Adam, the physical self, is always in ignorance of truth, always in ignorance, and stays in a materialistic way of thinking, which is the lower animal self. And this is what we call a sleep or an NPC. This is the lower mind of man. But all you have to do is to move your finger to touch God. You have to look within yourself, within the brain, meditate, and you can find God. This is why in the Bible we see many references to the human body and anatomy to truly connect with God. Kings 6:8, the door to the middle chamber was in the right side of the house, which is the right hemisphere of the brain. The middle chamber is the pineal gland, where the seat of your consciousness is, but the seat of your higher consciousness is, the mind. And they went up the winding stairs, which is your spinal column, into the middle chamber, and out of the middle chamber into the third. So they went up the winding stairs. This represents raising your consciousness up the winding stairs. Your spinal column acts as a stairway of consciousness. Depending on what sort of consciousness you are operating in, depends on what part of the spinal column you are using. Because the spinal column ascends and descends consciousness. What do I mean? If you are in a reproductive way of thinking and you're always thinking about sex, you're jerking off all the time and you're always eating, all of your brain's power and your mind's power is being descended into the lower aspects of the spinal column, which represents hell, the physical state of man, Adam, the ignorant state. We're basically living off low-level pleasures like an animal. And The stairway to heaven is your spinal column. They went up the winding stairs into the middle chamber, which is your mind, your pineal gland, and out of the middle into the third stage of consciousness, physical, etheric, astral. When you meditate and you start to raise your consciousness during meditation, you enter the astral plane when you turn off thought. But this is the middle chamber inside of the brain. Here we see another painting inside of Sistine's chapel of God inside of the brain. This is the brainstem. This is the brain. This is the frontal lobe. This is the back lobe. This is the back lobe. This is the cerebellum. Here's the reptilian brainstem. Here's the claustrum. This is what we are seeing here. Anatomy. Here is another one in Sistine's chapel in the middle of the Vatican. This is depicting the brainstem. God's neck looks exactly like the brainstem. Here we see a real brain compared to God's neck, because the neck is just below the brainstem. And this is what they are symbolizing, because they knew that God is within you. God is a part of the human body. God is inside of the body, because the body is a vessel for consciousness, for universal consciousness. Inside of you, inside of me, is the same spark of consciousness. And this same consciousness is spread out into every living essence, because everything comes from the one source, the one God, the one consciousness. Matthew 6:22-23. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Practicing the single eye. What is this? This is meditation. This is entering within yourself. So the Bible's telling you to practice the single eye. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. What does this mean? If your consciousness is in an evil way of thinking, if your mind is filled with an evil, negative mind space, then your body shall be filled with darkness, with evil, with negativity. Because negative thoughts destruct the body. Positive thoughts heal and regenerate the body. So he tells you to be, the light of the body is the eye, your consciousness, the inner eye of consciousness, the eye that lets you see. And what do I mean? You look with your two physical eyes, but you see with the inner eye. What you see is perception. You look with the two eyes, and what you see is perception. You are seeing, you are understanding, and that's what consciousness, the mind, gives you. Consciousness, or the mind, is the force that allows you to be a human being, that allows you to understand things and interact with things and make decisions. It's an infinite intelligence. See, the mind is not the brain. This is a big confusion with people. Hence why the eye on top of the pyramid is separate from the bottom half of the pyramid, because the consciousness is separate from the body, the eye, the all-seeing eye. It represents the observer, the eye that sees into this body, into this world, into this. You are the perceiver. You are the invisible spirit within the body. Theologians 4:17. After that, we are still alive, and our left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. You don't meet the Lord in the physical air. Okay? This symbolism of the ancient Christian artwork is showing you this is symbolic. These things never happened. There's no man in the sky. Moses didn't go on a mountain to meet with God. The air represents the mind. This is why you say you're an airhead when someone's very stupid. Earth is your body. Water is your emotions. Fire is your spirit. Air is your mind, the invisible mind. So Anton Mengs, an ancient Christian art worker, is showing you anatomy of God in the clouds. But this is the anatomy of the human body, raising yourself to the mind and turning the mind inwards on itself during meditation. And that's how you meet the Lord in the air. You meet the Lord in an elevated state of consciousness. The air represents an elevated state of consciousness because the air is up. You have to raise your consciousness to meet the Lord in the air. This is why Moses went on a mountain to meet with God. The mountain represents elevation of consciousness, raising the mind up the spinal column, taking all of the mind's attention away from the reproduction and the physical aspects of self and raising it to the brain and turning off the brain and going inward into the air. It's talking about raising consciousness. It's allegorical. It's a spiritual, metaphorical text. The side of your head's called a temple because inside that where that temple is, right in the middle of where you call the temple, is the inner chamber, the open room, the holies of holies in the Bible, or the land flowing with milk and honey, or Mount Zion. There's so many different names for the brain, or the upper room where Jesus meets his 12 disciples, the 12 cranial nerves in your brain. This is the temple of God. Your body is a temple of consciousness. It encapsulates the consciousness. It encapsulates the mind and soul. John 10:30, Jesus states, I and the Father are one. Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I am God. He's talking about the I am within you, not within Jesus. Everyone refers to ourselves as I. I am God. When you say I, you're referring to the highest aspect of yourself, the aspect that is above all thought, above all emotion, and above all things. When you say I, you're referring to your pure awareness, your pure consciousness, the highest aspect of yourself. And anything after I is egotistical. I is God. The letter I is the Roman numerals for one, because there is one God, one consciousness. The letter I is one line, just like the number one. Matthew 6:3-4, take no thought. Therefore, take no thought. Take no thought. He says this 5 times because you must turn off the 5 senses and take no thought to connect with God. Be still. This is telling you to meditate and know that I am God. The I am within you. I and the Father are one. I and God are one. You, who you think you are, is a completely wrong. The body is matter. Your name isn't you. Your job isn't you. Your reputation, your trauma, your memories, your friends, family, worries, bills, interests, dislikes, goals, passions, anything to do with the thinking mind is not you. Who you think you are is a part of your thinking aspect of consciousness. But once you remove thought, you are no longer your name. You are no longer your body. You're no longer your reputation. You are the I. You are pure awareness, pure consciousness. Pure consciousness. And this pure consciousness has latched on to this name, this job, the body, and your traumas. Your pure consciousness has attached itself to this character who you're playing in the physical world. And this is essentially who you think you are, but you are not. You are the I, you are the self, you are pure awareness. So, in order for you to detach from these things, you must learn how to detach from your name, your job, your reputation. And you do this through meditation by turning off the thinking mind. Turning off the thinking mind allows other aspects of your consciousness to open up. What do I mean? Your whole life you've been thinking, and all of these thoughts has attached you to this physical body. You haven't allowed your consciousness to open up. And you can only do this by taking no thought. That's why Jesus tells you, take no thought. When you turn off the thinking mind, other aspects of your consciousness starts to open up. Other aspects of your being can open up. And this is how you astral project. This is how you do all these mystical things and things to do with consciousness. It's taking no thought. Imagination, emotions, thought, and memory are all to do with consciousness. These things are not physical. You can't touch thought. You can't touch emotions. You can't touch these things because they are not a physical thing. So you must turn off these things for other aspects of your consciousness to open up. Okay? So essentially, the Bible is a metaphorical, astrological, numerological, metaphysical, spiritual, encoded text that talks about human anatomy, spirituality, and the true nature of the human experience. Everything they would teach you in school is to make you think that you are this body. Everything they teach you in church is the externalization of the true teachings of Jesus. Jesus was telling you to meditate. Jesus was telling you to practice the single eye. Jesus was telling you to look within yourself and find God. He wasn't telling you to pray to him. Mark 16:19, he was taken up to heaven and sat at the right hand of God, the right hemisphere of your brain. John 21:6, cast the net onto the right hand side of the boat and ye shall find fish. Fish is understanding. The boat is your body, your brain. Cast your awareness into the right side of your brain and you will find understanding, because the right side of your brain is all to do with the creative aspect and the intuition and the spiritual sides of your consciousness. This is why God is here. This is why Michelangelo depicted God in the right hemisphere of your brain, because this is all human anatomy. And I speak about all of this in the brand new Book of Wisdom, Volume 2, which is now available. The start of the revolution has begun. This book is truly going to change the way people see the world. It's got so many more topics than the last one. It's truly a revolution. It's written in so much detail. It's very practical. I cannot wait to share this one with you. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity for me to create this book, because without you, I couldn't have created this. And I just love sharing my work with you. And I thank every single one of you for the support, the watch, like the views and the likes, everything, especially the people who have joined the university and stuff like that. And for people who have joined the university, you do get a free Book of Wisdom paperback if you just go to the general chat and follow the description, follow what the instructions that I gave you in the chat, and you'll be able to order a free Book of Wisdom if you are inside of the university. Plus, you get all of my other books, 2 books, and over 45 occult books on occult and esoteric things. You get lectures, live calls, a community, a manifestation mastery course, and a whole library and reoccurring updates every month, every week. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all. Please leave a comment to help the algorithm, and leave a comment on what videos I should make. And yeah, I'll get to uploading on the YouTube a lot more now. The second book is now released. I have a lot more time on my hands. No longer using my energy to create the book. I'm now going to redirect this mental energy into the YouTube. So there will be a lot more content coming. So I need some content ideas. So feel free to comment some ideas, some YouTube videos that I can create. Thank you all, people. Have an amazing day.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
Welcome people, we're back with another video, and this video is about Freemasonry and their connection to the Illuminati. Please, as always, to make sure to hit that like and the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to never miss a video. On May the 1st, 1776, the founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, founded this secret organization, and this date can be found in Roman numerals underneath the all-seeing eye pyramid on the $1 bill. This $1 bill also says Anut Coptus Novus Ordo Secularum. This is Latin for announcing the birth of the New World Order. This New World Order will be headed by Lucifer, the all-seeing eye, and followed by the 13 layers of bricks for the 13 elite bloodlines. So your Orsini's, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Soroses, and the other 9 elite families. So when Adam Weishaupt created the Illuminati, he made it consisting of high-level degree Masons, French and Latin philosophers, and many more powerful people to all become one society. So this is why you see Masons using the same symbol of the all-seeing eye inside the pyramid. But not all Freemasons are part of this Illuminati secret society. As the 33rd degree Freemason Manly P. Hall said in his book The Secret Teachings of All Ages, Freemasonry is a fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood of the elect. So what he's saying here is that Freemasons have to go up the degrees of Freemasonry, and once they hit the top, they either get elected or not into these secret societies like the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, and Knights Templar. So when you see celebrities doing this one-eye symbolism, either covering one eye, doing the triangle, or doing 666 over one eye, this is showing and reflecting the symbolism of Freemasonry. They have taken the oath to never speak on anything they learn about Freemasonry. Duncan's Ritual of Freemasonry book states the oath they have to take. Quote, I ... of my own free will and accord, that I will hail, ever conceal, and never reveal any of the secrets, arts, points of Master Mason's degree to any person whomsoever. All this most solemnly, sincerely promise and swear. Now, this is what happens when they break the oath, stated in this book, quote, myself severed in two, my bowels taken from thence, and burnt to ashes. So this states that Freemasonry comes first, before any law of the land. It has the right to kill you if you break your oath. This is the hand gesture they have to do every time they enter the ritual room inside the Masonic lodge. This is the cutthroat symbol, showing you and reminding you of the oath and what will happen if you break it. Now in this book, Richardson's Monitor of Freemasonry, it states, if you break your oath, binding myself under no less penalty than to have my throat cut across, my tongue torn out by the roots, and my body buried in the rough sands of the sea. If they do not decide to kill you, this book states this by pointing him out to the world as an unworthy vagabond, by opposing his interest, by dearranging his business. In other words, they have the power to frame you and destroy your reputation to the world and destroy your business if you break this oath. So yes, they do kill to keep this truth hidden, because this truth of this reality is what keeps them in power. They have the ability to manipulate people because people do not know what manipulates them. This is why they call themselves the government. They govern the ment, which is the mentality, because the mind is the root cause of reality. They control what you perceive to control what you manifest. By knowing the truth, you are set free, and you no longer need no controller above you. So this is why they are willing to kill and do whatever it takes to keep the truth concealed within these high-level degrees of masonry and these secret societies. However, going back to Manly P. Hall's book, it states, part of the symbols are displayed here to the initiate, but he is intentionally misled by false interpretations. So this is saying even Freemasons are intentionally misled and told lies to conceal the truth, to make sure the truth is hidden in the high degrees of Masonry. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you all for tapping in. Please leave a like and a subscribe. God bless.
This one secret that is hidden and guarded within secret societies grants you profound power, which can fully transform your life and perspective on reality. Today, I'm going to reveal this one secret, which you probably already know, but never realized how deep it truly is. This has the power to change your life. It is the key to your potential. And if you stay with me, this power may be yours, and you could transform your life with this hidden secret that is guarded within secret societies and esoteric orders. And this secret is not really a secret, but something people overlook, that the universe is mental. Everything we experience and interact with and perceive originates within the mind. The universe is a boundless field of consciousness, a mental construct molded and shaped by thought. We do not just live in a physical world, as they want you to believe. There are hidden forces that mold the material world. They want you to believe that you are only a physical being inside of a physical universe. But this is completely wrong. You are the architecture of the universe. Your consciousness is the very fabric of reality, and you create your own universe. The universe is an infinite field of consciousness, a vast and limitless mental construct, intricately woven and shaped by the power of thought. It is a dynamic and ever evolving field where the interplay of awareness and attention gives form to existence. Within the boundless realm, every idea, perception, and belief contributes to the creation and transformation of reality itself. Each thought holds the power to transform reality. Your consciousness is the very fabric of reality. And this is shown in the symbol of the flower of life. The flower of life is a symbol. It symbolizes the interconnectedness of all existence, illustrating how every thought is not merely a fleeting moment, but a ripple that reverberates across every layer of reality. Each action, like the intricate overlapping circles of this pattern in the symbol, extends its influence far beyond its origin, weaving a web of interdependence where every choice impacts the whole. It serves as a profound reminder that everything is connected, bound by an unseen field of consciousness. This symbol represents how one action, one thought is a ripple in the whole vastness of the ether of consciousness. To master your mind is to master the universe, because your mind is a miniature universe. The mind is the very fabric of reality. So if we gain the hook, if we gain the power and the mastery over our minds, we have now gained the power to create reality to your will and intent. You see, most people live in a cycle, and this cycle is the outer world manipulating how they feel on the inner world. People's external circumstances are creating their thoughts and emotion in the inner world of consciousness, which is producing a constant cycle of negative manifestation. For example, let's say something negative happens to me in my external world. Then I start to think negative and feel negative. what that is actually doing is manifesting and projecting more negativity, because our thoughts hold the power to control and weave our own life. Your life is a direct correlation of every thought you thought in the past. What we need to do is stop and not let the mind control you in your reality. You need to control the mind so you can control reality. So, what does this actually mean? Reality is an externalization of consciousness. Consciousness and matter are one, they're not separate. They are inseparable and interconnected. Everything we see, experience, and observe is a manifestation of thought, beliefs, and consciousness, shaping the world around us. Now, this ties in with the secret fifth element that they have hid from you. They've hid from you this sacred and very important symbol and pillar to reality. And this pillar, this sacred thing they've missed, is called the ether. And they've held this from you for a reason, a specific reason. This is the true fifth element. Why do they hide the ether? Because the ether has the power to shape and manifest whatever we imprint upon it. Every thought is a vibration interacting with the ether and actively shaping our reality. The ether, you could see it as the codes to physical reality. It's like an energetic blueprint which surrounds all physical objects. It is the life force that gives life to all things. All energy comes out of the ether and returns back to the ether. Energy, it's 0 point energy, and it is an infinite source of energy. So this is why they hide the ether, because whatever our mind can imprint onto the ether, we can create into a reality. And we imprint the ether through thought and imagination. The mind holds the power. The mind is the very source of reality. The material realm is not separate from the mental realm. Rather, it is intricately shaped and influenced by it through the ether. This subtle, all-pervasive medium bridges thought and matter, allowing consciousness to mold and manifest the physical reality. To transform our lives, we must first transform our minds. True change begins within, as our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions shape the reality we experience. By shifting our mindset, we unlock the power to reshape our world and recreate the life we desire. This is the power of the mind, and this is the power that's been hidden from you. We're not taught these things in schools for a reason, because they don't want us all to be conscious creators. Instead, they feed you your beliefs. They feed you your thoughts through the music, through the entertainment, through the movies, through the news. They're controlling your thoughts with this information. They're installing beliefs and information into your mind. So you are producing their reality. But this is what we need to stop. We need to take control. We need to stop consuming their music, their movies, their information, their news, because all of this is contributing towards your reality. They have the collective consciousness at the tip of their fingers. They do not create the world. We create the world by believing their beliefs and their thoughts and installing their information into our minds. You see, it's mind over matter, and most people live in matter over their mind. Most people let matter, the external circumstances, dictate their mind, when it should be the other way around. It should be mind over matter. This is the mental plane. This is the astral. This is the etheric. This is the physical. The mind holds power over the emotions, over the imagination, over the physical, and over our spirit. It holds power over everything. It's mind over matter. It's the mental body that we must transmute and change. Most of us live in a chaotic state of mind, and this is what we must change. Turn chaos into order. So We need to be mind over matter. We need to install this belief into our subconscious. I, Harry B. Joseph, have created the ultimate esoteric school on the earth. As a member, you'll gain access to live mentoring calls twice a week, along with new lectures, books, and exclusive content released every week. Additionally, you'll have a full access to all my life-changing programs. If you're ready to transform your life and start your journey today with me, join Ethereal University. These are the campuses. We have the real lecture sections filled with lectures that you can watch. Manifestation Mastery, which teaches you exactly how to reprogram your subconscious mind so you can live that reality. Sexual Alchemy, the path to empowerment of how you can transmute your sexual energy. The Real Library, where you gain access to powerful esoteric books, PDFs. Symbols of Secrets, an amazing course. The course that allows you to see beyond the veil that has been pulled over your eyes, the language of symbolism that secretly rules the world. I teach you how to read symbolism. Esoteric Exchange, live calls. You get to rewatch all of the old live calls. Mindwave Hub, this is a place of binaural beats where you can listen to infinite amounts of binaural beats. So you can meditate to them. Meditation section, numerology, health section, and electromagnetism. This is a life-changing place. And if you are serious, we only accept serious about changing your life and studying the occult and esoteric, this is the place for you. I've been there. I've been on YouTube looking around for valuable information, trying to find good accounts, good channels. It's very hard. I had to go through years of trying to find good information on YouTube. But what I've done is instead of you searching around everywhere for bits of information and connecting the dots, I've put it all into one big place. You get your binaural beats, you get all the programs you need to walk the path of enlightenment to transform your life. I will connect with you on the inside, and I hope this lesson, this lecture, you gained some information, you gained some power from it. Please like and comment, or don't. It's up to you. If you have any reviews, if you have any ideas of lectures that you know, if you don't understand certain things, make sure to leave a comment and I can make a lecture about it. I can make a video about it for sure. I don't mind taking recommendations for videos. So I thank you all, people. Have an amazing day.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
What is good, people? Is Revival of Wisdom. We're back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of Saturn and the occult. Let's jump straight into this. So Saturn is the god of the earth, right? It's the time of God, change, destruction, physical matter. He creates and destroys because the energy of Saturn is the key to crystallization. It wraps things in physical matter, right? He creates everything, all life forms, and he takes things back because the day that you're born, that's the day that your expiry date is coming. The time is ticking until Saturn takes your life. This is why he's known as the Reaper. Okay? As he's personified as eating his child here in this ancient Roman painting. As you can see, he's eating the child. We are all children of Saturn, right? He creates physical matter, our physical bodies, right? He's the god of time because he's the slowest moving celestial body. He's the Lord of the Rings, as you can see here. He's the last one on the ring. He's the slowest one moving, okay? So he is the Lord of time, destruction and creation, okay? This is why his name is Saturn, Satan. He's the devil, okay? But I'm not saying Saturn's evil, guys. It's a part of life. Everything lives and dies, right? He's the key to crystallization. Now, as we have the clock here, our god Saturn or Chronos in Greek just means time. He's also the god of time, as I've already said. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. Add 2 plus 4 equals 6. 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 2 plus 4 equals 6. That's 666. Okay. And as you see on the clock, 6 take away 12 equals 6. 7 take away 1 equals 6. 9 take away 3 equals 6. 6 is the number of Saturn. It's associated with Saturn, right? He's the god of time, of justice. Everything goes back to the Reaper in the end. Everything lives and dies. Now, the artwork of him, he's always got the Reaper staff. You see, it's personifying death. Now, when you see this, the Romans were not saying Saturn was a real person, a real god in human form. No, this is personification. This is what the ancients always did. They personified, just like the Bible. It's all personification. So the personifying Saturn eating its children because it eats, it's the Reaper. No one can escape the Reaper. No one can escape death. Now, Saturn is 666, which is in the Bible, the number of the beast, right? The number of the beast, Satan, 666, right? So on the North Pole of Saturn, you have a hexagon which makes a cube, right? Now this hexagon, when you join up all the corners, creates the 6-pointed star known as the Star of David, right? In the Jewish religion. Now, as you can see, the 6-pointed star has 6 points, 6 mini triangles, and a 6-sided hexagon. That makes 666. And also, your Saturday is named after Saturn, the 6th planet, the 6th day of the week, and has a 6-sided polygon in its north pole. That's also 666. Now, this Star of David, this symbol goes back thousands of years, and it originates from Saturn. It's not the Star of David, right? It originates from Saturn. It symbolizes the physical and spiritual aspect combined into one, which makes us humans, right? Also symbolizes the male and female combined into one. These two sacred energies create the human. We consist of both male and female energy, also known as the Seal of Solomon. And we all know if Solomon was a real person, he talks about communicating with 72 demons. He could apparently, in the text, he could communicate with 72 demons, and this is sorcery. This is black magic. Now, this symbol is associated with hexing people. When you place a hex on someone, that is a form of witchcraft, which a hex is just a curse. When you're cursing someone, this is black magic. Now, the black magician would stand in the middle of the symbol and cast his spells onto other people. Now, this symbol is obviously on the $1 bill, twice on the $1 bill. And it's very, very ancient symbol. And it originates from Saturn. And let's keep going. So the cube. So I've just said how you see the cube on the North Pole of Saturn, right? The cube is limited. It's a 3D shape. It symbolizes limitations to the physical 3D dimension, the third dimension, the physical realm which we are in. Now, as you can see, the color associated with Saturn is black, right? Black is infinite potential. Black is the creation of all things before there was light. Light is born out of blackness, darkness, okay? Now, black is physical matter.
And as you can see, the black cube, black symbolizing physical matter, the cube being limited, as the physical realm that we are in is limited. It's not like the fourth dimension where everything can exist in a thought. The third dimension is limited, right? And this is what Saturn is. It limits you to the 3D 666. Your body limits you to your physical body. Now these black cubes are placed everywhere, as you can see: Australia, Denmark, Manhattan. There's one in New York. As you can see, the Apple have a cube. The Nintendo GameCube, Trump Tower is a black cube. This is worshipping the energy of Saturn, the god Saturn. Okay, it's not a god; it's a celestial energy. However, it rules over Earth because it pretty much created the physical realm. Now, as you see, when you go to a funeral, you wear black, a black suit symbolizing Saturn, which is the color associated, black. And as you see in Mecca, they walk around the black cube in rings. As you can see here, they're stood around in rings, like the Saturn, the rings of Saturn. The Mercedes symbol. You probably wouldn't notice that, but yes, it's Saturn. And when you graduate from university, you wear a black cube on your head. This is all symbolizing Saturn. Okay. Now, as you can see, the Jews here have a black cube on their third eye whilst they pray. Notice how he's shutting his eyes into blackness, darkness, and he's wrapped around a black strap around his arm. This is symbolizing the wrapping of physical matter, of how physical matter wraps things into existence. And as we all know, the Star of David is a Jewish symbol. So he has the black cube and the Star of David, right? So all of these religions are secretly worshipping Saturn. Okay, this is all Saturn worship, Kronos, the god of time and destruction, the physical reality. Now, as you can see, it's symbolized everywhere in all major corporations. Pepsi, internet, that's obvious. NASA, of course, NASA. NASA means to deceive in Hebrew. Universal, Walkers, that one's so obvious. Nike, Toyota. So many different ways they symbolize it. You either see the rings of Saturn or the black cube, as I just showed you here, the Nintendo and the Mercedes, right? It's absolutely everywhere. Now, they also use 666 to symbolize it, as I've just broken it down to you. 666, the World Economic Forum. We all know how they're trying to enslave us into this new world agenda. Google Chrome, CERN, Disney, Coca-Cola, Cadbury's, all of these have 666. Now, every UPS barcode has 666. And even www. Is Hebrew for 666, as you can see here. Monster. It's the same Hebrew letter that means 666. Drake, 6 God. That's his God, Saturn. Why? Because they love physical realm. They love the physical dimension, the third dimension. Because they can rule here through riches. They can build an empire here. It's not like the fourth dimension. They don't want to ascend. They want to stay down here in the physical realm. Okay? Now, this is why they're cloning. They can move their consciousness into other clones to live forever. This technology exists. This is why they love the third dimension. As you can see, all of these sellouts here, Drake, Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, all of these people doing 666 because this is their God. This is their God. They love the physical realm. They sold their souls for wealth and fame in this physical realm. So why would they leave? You see? Now, this isn't all just evil, okay? So you have 7 chakras, right? You have 7 days of the week, 7 solfeggio scale notes. These are frequencies, the solfeggio scale. Now, it's called the Saturn moon matrix because the moon symbolizes your mind, because you're created out of the Holy Trinity, which is body, mind, and spirit, right? That's the triangle, the equal triangle, body, mind, and spirit. Now, the 3 main celestial bodies are Earth, Moon, and Sun. The Earth being your physical body, the Moon being your mind, and the Sun is your soul, hence why it's called solar. It's a solar soul. Now, these symbols are alchemical symbols. So when you're doing alchemy, you use these symbols to obviously symbolize what we're talking about. Now, as you can see, these are all the symbols of the planets. Now, Saturn is created out of the moon on top, the moon on the bottom and the earth on top, as you can see here. You see? And this creates the number 5. Now, with the moon being your mind and the earth being your physical body, this is mind over matter, because the earth is your body's matter. This is matter over mind. You don't want to be matter over mind. This is low states of consciousness. You won't be mind over matter. You see, to manipulate matter, to create your own reality. Now, obviously, we all know Saturn is associated with the lowest chakra, which is the root chakra. This is to deal with your animal instincts. When you're down here, you identify as the physical body. You don't know anything spiritual. You're you have a pure physical mind. You don't believe in anything spiritual. This is survival mode, consumption. They want you trapped down here, which is matter over mind. They don't want you to create your own reality, which is mind over matter. You see? Now, that's what Jupiter is. Saturn is the moon on the bottom and the earth on top. But Jupiter is the moon on top with the earth on the bottom. That's mind over matter, you see? So, these chakras are an ascension process from matter, physical matter to spiritual. This is the ascension. This is the stairway to heaven. This is Jacob's ladder. You see? Now, the number 5, which is obviously associated with Saturn as well, which create the symbol for Saturn, created the number 5. You have 5 senses, 5 elements, 5 physical elements. As we all know, Saturn crystallizes everything into physical matter out of the 4 elements. 5 fingers and toes, 5 points of man. Okay, the number 5 is the number of justice. Saturn holds things back. He restrains things from you, makes you learn the lesson. Now, 666 is not all evil. 666 is the atomic structure of the carbon atom. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, right? We are carbon-based life forms. All life forms are based on the bonding properties of the element carbon. Because Saturn crystallizes everything into physical matter. Now, the Masons symbolize this with the checkered boards. They have the black square, which is obviously matter. As I just said, the black cube. And spirit is the white square. Because white is eternal light. White and light. You see? Black is physical matter. Now, this is what we are. The point of our soul is to transmute from matter to spirit. But these are interchangeable.
This is the constant cycle between spirit and matter, spirit and matter. High vibrational matter turns into spirit. Low vibrational spirit turns into physical matter. You see? Now, we are carbon-based life forms. This is what 666 is, the number of the beast. Well, when I say we, the physical body is the beast. It's the animal. It's the carbon suit to operate in this physical dimension, in this physical realm. See, it's the vehicle used to operate in this physical realm, but your mind isn't from this physical realm. You see, the brain is the physical manifestation of the soul. Okay, so as you can see here, the spine is an extension of the brain. Everything goes back to the brain. This is literally what your physical body is. You see, this is the nervous system, and everything reports back to the brain, and everything's controlled from this control center. And this spinal column, at the top of the spinal column, is your third eye, which is known as the pineal gland. And this is the seat of consciousness. It's the center of consciousness. That is your true self, pure consciousness. This body is just a physical body. This body is mortal. This body runs out, but your consciousness lives forever. They don't want you knowing this. This is why they keep you down here in your lower chakra. They want you to believe everything is just physical. They don't want you to believe in the spiritual side of reality. Because this way they can manipulate you, right? They want you matter over mind because they know your mind creates reality. They know your mind is the root cause of reality. You manifest your own reality from the inside out. So this is why they control your perception of reality. They control your information in order to manifest their new world order. You, who are ignorant to knowledge and wisdom, you who are ignorant are manifesting their agenda because you accept their information and their perception of this reality. Now, this is why they tell you the globe model, the heliocentric model, to trap you into physical matter. Now, if you understood about this true form of this realm, you'd understand that there's a spiritual side behind everything. The spiritual side, something has to exist. The root cause of reality is higher planes of existence. It happens in the mind before it happens on the physical plane. You see? They don't want you knowing this. They want you matter over mind, which is the symbol for Saturn. Moon over Earth. The Holy Trinity. Now, as you can see, the cube also makes IXXI. This is Roman numerals. This is Roman numerals, and when it's translated from 9/11. Yes, 9/11. This is the secret code of the One World Order. The two twin towers, when the two become one. Okay, when the two become one, this is how you reach the higher states of consciousness, the physical and spiritual. Now, as you can see, the 9/11 memorial are two black cubes. It's two black cubes. This is all Saturn worship. Now, I'm not saying that Saturn is an evil celestial body, right? No, everything has a good side and a bad side, right? It's duality. The spirits of Saturn on the dark side are the most evil demonic spirits. Now, these are the spirits that these are invoking through these rituals, right? Yes, 9/11 was a massive ritual. It's a satanic ritual. Okay. Now, we all know Elon Musk. Elon Musk is coming with the mark of the beast. And English gematria, this equals 666, right? 666, as I said, is the number of the beast. You are the beast, your physical body. You see how the Bible twisted things up to make things more confusing, right? But it's there. You just have to have the knowledge to be able to read the Bible properly. As we all know, we had this virus. I'm not going to say the name because I'll get flagged. This virus adds up to 666 because this is all part of the New World Order. It's all part of keeping you in this physical dimension. Okay. Now, as you can see here, Novus Ordo Seclorum on the back of his shirt, on Elon Musk's shirt. This is also on the $1 bill. Novus Ordo Seclorum. This means New World Order. Yes, New World Order. This is on the back of Elon Musk's shirt. And as you can see here, he owns Neuralink, which is the brain chip which they're going to be putting into implanting this onto your brain. This is the New World Order to connect you and merge your consciousness with AI. Neuralink and Meta, he owns Meta as well, which is the metaverse. These are going to be linked in, hence why they have the same symbol, but just in a different format. It's the infinity symbol. And the infinity symbol comes from the torus field, as you can see here, your electromagnetic field from around your body. Now, the end goal is for this New World Order is to trap your consciousness inside of an alternative reality being projected from the metaverse. Because the metaverse will be the reality. Neuralink will be the brain chip inside of your brain, projecting your consciousness into an alternative reality while they harness your energy of your physical 666 body. Now, this stuff gets real deep, people. Now, this is the end goal of the New World Order, is to connect you with AI. This is why they're trapping you and keeping you in these lower states of consciousness in the Saturn-associated root chakra, so you don't find out about the spiritual side of reality. Because if you knew the truth of this reality, you wouldn't connect to AI. You see, you have the power within you to travel to other worlds, the astral plane, for example. You travel to different worlds when you are sleeping. Okay? They want you to know it's just a dream. However, their end goal is to trap your consciousness and feed off your energy, spiritually and physically. Okay? I don't know why these people are just pure evil. As I said, evil love bondage. They love the physical dimension. They don't want to ascend to other realms. These evil love the third dimension. This is why evil spirits will inhabit bodies, exorcisms, because they miss being in the physical realm. They miss it. Evil love bondage. So this is why they're cloning and putting their consciousness in clones to stay in this third dimension, to stay as further away from the source as possible. Okay? This is why they're doing it. And this is how it's all linked in. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you gained some wisdom. Please feel free to join the Telegram. And please leave a like and a subscribe. Thank you all, people. God bless.
What is the difference between higher consciousness and lower consciousness? In this video, I'm going to be breaking this down in great detail so you can understand what higher consciousness actually is, because this word is thrown around a lot in the spiritual community. So I'd love to break this down and make this clear to you. My name is Harry B. Joseph, also known as Revival of Wisdom. I am the author of the Book of Wisdom, Volume 1 and 2. I've been studying the occult for the past 4 to 5 years and have personally been using the occult esoteric knowledge on myself and implementing it in my life. When I say the word occult simply means hidden. It comes from the Latin word oculus, which means eye. It simply means hidden from the visible eye, what you cannot see. So we're studying things of the human psyche, the things that we cannot see, such as thought, emotion, desire, the astral forces, imagination. We're studying the things that cannot be visibly seen, but they affect what can be seen in the material world. The most important thing that helped me understand life is that life is a mental game. It's a mental universe. Every object you see was first thought in the mind before it came a physical reality, which means mind and matter are not separate. They are one. Matter is the crystallization and the expression of mind. Therefore, higher consciousness corresponds to the mind of the individual. First, let's start off with lower consciousness. The external world is the effect. The cause is the mind. The internal world expresses the external world. Realities created from the inside out. Lower consciousness simply means they're not aware of their internal world. They have no connection with their internal world. They act unconsciously. They are unconscious to their thoughts, what's going on inside their mind. They are unconscious of their hidden desires that drive their physical actions. They are unconscious. This is what in the occult they say spiritually dead, symbolized as a grave or a casket. Someone who is not aware of their internal world and they exist within the darkness. They think, feel, and act unconsciously. They have no awareness of their internal self. They think imagination is just a fantasy, which I don't blame them, because imagination in the modern world is painted to be some fantasy thing. Oh, you're just imagining things. But in the occult, this is a very powerful faculty of the mind. The imagination is the dimension that sits just above the physical plane, that pretty much all thoughts manifest there before it materializes in the material reality. Low consciousness simply means they are in reactive consciousness. The individual reacts to the effects that they have created through the cause of their mind, thoughts, emotions, and actions. If something bad happens in their external reality, their mind starts to think about reacting, complaining, which ultimately creates a negative cycle of manifestation. They're simply blaming the effects outside of them that are the causes of the individual's mind. They are in reactive consciousness, which pretty much has no personal power. A low consciousness also means you are emotional, reactive. You are easily triggered by situations or people. Anger, fear, defensiveness arises quickly, often before conscious thought. This is associated with the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain does not think, and it is the modality of consciousness that keeps the individual not critically thinking, simply just reacting to the world. They make decisions based on instinct. They make decisions based on fear. This is a low consciousness. Another symptom of low consciousness is that the individual only thinks in reaction to their five senses. They only think in the terms of their five senses. They sense something in their five senses and they simply just react and they think around the five senses. They do not use their spiritual faculties such as imagination, willpower. Low consciousness people are mainly stuck in their ego. The ego inside of the occult and esoteric teachings needs to be overcome. We have to face our ego because the ego tells us we already know everything. I don't need to know anything else. I have my belief system. I'm happy with believing whatever. Everything else is just a fantasy. I believe everything that's already told me within school. And the ego stops them from expanding their mind into the esoteric teachings or more things about life. They're ignorant to gaining more knowledge because they think they already know everything that has been given to them within institutions such as schools. In the occult, we have to face our ego and submit to it and say, we do not know everything. There is so much more that we need to learn about ourselves to expand as an individual. A low consciousness person or individual is reactive. Their thinking dwells in the past or worries about the future. The now is rarely accepted as it is. They're never in the now. They're either thinking about the past or the future. A low consciousness is also attachments to self-image, beliefs, opinions, roles, history, and is mentally rigid. Their mind doesn't want to expand. They're stuck on a certain belief, a certain thing, and they're not open to accept anything else inside their mind. And a challenge to them feels like a personal threat. And instead of being self-aware and responsible, they see others as the cause of their unhappiness and the negative things that they are manifesting in their reality. A low consciousness also seeks for validation outside of themselves. They try to cover things up with materialism or whatever it is. But now let's move on to a higher consciousness. This is what we call causal consciousness. Causal consciousness is a state where the mind of the individual is mastered. Their mind does not dwell on the effects of the external world because the individual who has a higher consciousness understands that the world outside of them is the effect. It is the world of form. Force and form are two dualities within the occult that are very important. Everything outside of you is form, everything inside of you is force. The forces inside of you create the form outside of you. The person with a low consciousness simply just reacts to the external world, creating a constant cycle of negativity. But the person with the higher consciousness understands that whatever happens outside of them cannot be changed. It is already manifested, therefore there is no point in complaining. If the person with the higher consciousness understands if they don't like something, they can change it internally. If they can't change it, then they change their mental attitude towards it. This is the law of polarity. Light and darkness are the same thing, but just different degrees of light, which means we have the ability to shift our mindset and perception towards things to make sure it's positive. The person with the higher consciousness, even though something bad may happen to them in the world of effect, they can change their mindset towards it and ultimately change their actions to change that reality. There's no point reacting. It's simply what we do to create the change. A higher consciousness means their mind is ordered and disciplined. They do not think random thoughts. The person with a higher consciousness and a trained mind in the occult has a mind of a powerhouse of control. They understand that the mind is the cause of all things, therefore we have to gain mastery and control over the mind, or else it will produce constant chaos. Their mind is ordered and disciplined. The person with a higher consciousness is always self-aware. This is very important. The person with a lower consciousness never is self-aware. They give attention to random thoughts. They give attention to negative thoughts. They give attention to negative imaginations. They start daydreaming about worrying about the future or the things that happened to them in the past. This is all useless. You're using the creative powers of consciousness for the negative. The person who is trained in the occult and has a trained mind with a higher consciousness understands that their mind is the cause, and they are always aware of the thoughts that they are entertaining inside their mind. There is a level of mastery where one can achieve the conscious awareness of every single thought in their mind every single day. Now, this is very difficult to achieve, but this is one of my goals personally. It is the thought that it is the seed of creation. And if we give random thoughts attention, these seeds can be planted in our subconscious and ultimately drive that effect into our reality. The trained mind, thought and intention manifest more effectively because they arise from unity, not fragmentation. You become the conscious creator rather than the unconscious reactor. Higher consciousness also means that you know what to do to produce a change in your reality. If there's something bad happening in my reality, I know that there's some sort of change that needs to happen within me. For example, if I start a cycle of negative thoughts, I know that there needs to be some mental work constructed on my mind. This will happen. On your path of self-mastery, you will fall back into old thinking patterns or something that happened to you in the past. These little patterns will show up again. But when you have a higher consciousness, you know exactly what to do to execute on changing that part of yourself. For example, if I catch myself thinking negatively for the past 2 days, I know I need to do affirmations and to reprogram my mind to counteract them negative thoughts. Or if I start overthinking and I start to lose control over my mind, then I know I need to do a meditation of stillness where I think about nothingness and develop my willpower. A higher consciousness knows where these things are coming from because they understand themselves. Higher consciousness also means they have unity consciousness. This is what the triangle is. Unity consciousness. The I within the triangle. The I in the triangle is the number 1. The triangle is the number 3. These are the 3 expressions of consciousness: thinking, feeling, and acting. and they are one force. If they have a goal in mind that they want to create, a desire in their heart to manifest, they unify all three forces of consciousness towards that goal. They think, feel, and act. A person with low consciousness is divided within their own consciousness. They think about creating a business, they feel like they're hungry, and they act scrolling on TikTok. This is what you call divided consciousness, and this is what creates chaos in reality. Their three forces and three expressions of consciousness are not working together. When we align thinking, feeling, and acting all towards one thing, you can quickly start to generate realities and create worlds. So a person with a higher consciousness will be working, they may get the thought of playing video games, but then they remind themselves of think, feeling, and acting and get back focused on whatever they're trying to create. A person with a higher consciousness will pause before reacting. There is a stillness between stimulus and action where awareness chooses rather than reflex responds. A person with a higher consciousness has no fear inside their consciousness, inside their mind, because they understand that fear is the mind killer. It kills the creative powers and forces of the mind. Fear is an illusion, and again, going back to the law of polarity, the person with a higher consciousness understands the laws, that if there is fear, then there is ultimately an opposite of that, which they can transmute their mind from fear into the opposite, which would be strength. They start to fear something, they instantly shift their consciousness into the polar opposite of that, instead of dwelling on fear, which destroys the creative power of the mind. A person with higher consciousness understands they will never die, because they have truly access to mystical experiences, which proves to them that they will not die. The person with the higher consciousness does not identify with the ego, the name, the job, the reputation, because they understand these are constructs of the mind. When you turn off the mind, you are left with the observer. You are no longer the mind, you are the observer of the mind. The person with the higher consciousness seeks to be the observer of their life, looking over their thoughts, emotions, and never dwelling in them too much, because when you get caught up in your emotions, you will be moved by the wind of the emotions. They are the observer of them, and they are connected with their soul. They are connected with the observer. The person who has low consciousness is constantly in battle with their thoughts, emotions, and the things that are happening outside of them. Their emotions blow them away like the wind or the seas of the ocean. But the person with the higher consciousness understands they are the observer. They can watch over them. They are like a bird looking over the earth. Now, I'm not saying this is easy to gain this level of mastery, but now you can start to understand the mind of a person who has a higher consciousness and aim to become this person to ultimately live a better life. Higher consciousness is not this mystical, magical thing with, most spiritual teachers will paint in your mind. It's simply just self-control. And when you have control over yourself, life becomes a lot better. Instead of being caught up within the battlefield within your own mind and emotions, living in reaction and complaining in a negative state of mind, the person with the higher consciousness also understands that their dreams are showing them messages from their subconscious mind. Every person, every event, everything that was said, everything that happens in your dream is a materialization of something that's going on inside your subconscious mind. If there is a person chasing you in your dream and you are in fear running away, this means that the subconscious is showing you something through the allegory or symbol of that person chasing you. There's something inside of you that you are maybe running away from, and you need to identify that and change it. So I hope this video gives you some great insight and a bit of an idea what higher consciousness is. Again, higher consciousness is about having faith, because when you were in the lower consciousness like myself before all of this, I didn't know what higher consciousness is. Therefore, you have to have faith that it's going to lead you somewhere, that the work that you are doing to try achieve self-mastery is going to take you to another level. You have to have faith in yourself that higher consciousness is going to be better for you. If you do not have faith or the desire in your heart to generate that higher consciousness, it's not going to happen. Keep your eyes on the light, keep your desire on the light, and keep faith in your heart to generate this higher version of yourself. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.
As above, so below. This is one of the most crucial teachings within esotericism, occultism, or what we like to call it today, spirituality. I don't like calling it spirituality because it's not spirituality. I teach human consciousness. I teach the science of you and your consciousness alone and your being. And in order to fully understand you and this world around you, you must understand this number one principle of as above, so below. There is many misconceptions of this, and there is many simple teachings of this, But I'm going to break it down today from the most simplest to the most complex, and you will see the connections between all things. This is the most important lesson you could ever learn, and I'm going to teach it you today. So what you must understand is with the term as above, so below, it applies with everything you see in this world and about yourself. We have something called the macro, which means the bigger scale. On the bigger scale, we have the whole earth. If we look down from the sky on top of rivers, this is what we see. We see this tree pattern. Then on a smaller scale, we see trees have the same pattern. Then we look even closer. We're going smaller and smaller into the leaves of the tree. We see the same pattern. Then we go even more micro into the human brain and look at the human brain cells, and we see the same pattern. This is proof this is a fractal universe, and everything is in the micro is reflected in the macro. As above, so below. As within, so without. On the macro is a reflection of the micro. So now that you understand this, we can go a bit further. A yearly cycle of spring, summer, fall, winter is a macro. A micro is a daily cycle. So a day is a mini year. The summer is the midday. Autumn is the evening. Night is the winter. And spring is the morning. This is a macro, a reflection. We have a miniature cycle of the zodiac every single day. And this cycle is also reflecting the cycle of life and death. We live, we are born, which is the spring. We live, which is the summer. We then age, which is the autumn. And then we die, which is the winter. And then we are reborn again. This is the cycle of life and death. And you do this every single day. You see, death is a macrocosm of sleep. This is why we say sleep is the cousin of death. Because you die every single night. You do this process of life and death every single day. As above, so below. What's in the micro is in the macro. So when you go to sleep, you are essentially dying. And then in the morning when you wake up, you are then born again. This is a fractal cycle that we live in. Everything in this whole world is fractal. Everything applies to as above, so below. We have the sun, we have the moon, we have the day, we have the night. We have the life, we have the death. We have the conscious, we have sleep. As above, so below. We have the conscious mind, because now we're diving into as within, so without. As above, so below more refers to the external world. As within, so without is referring to your inner world and the outer world. What you must understand is about yourself. You exist in two realms. You're an individual. The dual nature of you exist in two realms at once. You have an inner world of your thought, emotion. This is the inner world that no one else can see but yourself. And you have an outer world with a physical body which everyone can see. So you exist in two worlds. You have the inner voice, you have the outer physical voice, which I'm speaking to you with now. But I also have an inner voice, which no one can hear, only but me. So you exist in the light and you exist in the darkness. The sun represents your external self, your physical, conscious mind. The moon represents your shadow self, the inner self, the psyche self, the spirit self. There is an as above, so below. The sun is within you. The moon is within you. Everything is within you. Now that you understand as above, so below, what is your body? Your body is a miniature earth. Let me repeat, your body is an earth. Your body is the earth. Okay? Because like I say many times in all of my videos, you are not in the world. The world is you. You are the universe. Your brain is a computer creating this reality. What you see with your eyes is produced in the back of the brain called the visual cortex. You don't look into the world, the brain produces the world. The body produces the world. When you touch something, you're not actually touching something. This is the electrical nervous system. When you touch something, what you feel is actually electrical signals on your nervous system reporting back to your brain. Therefore, when this body dies, you leave the earth because this body is the earth. Okay? As above, so below. You have the mental plane, the astral plane, the etheric plane, and the physical plane. This is essential for understanding reality and the teaching of as above, so below. Everything in this material plane began in the thinking mind. For example, the microphone I'm speaking into, the phone you're watching this video off, or the laptop or iPad. Where did this begin? It didn't begin in the factory. The first ever place this item begun was in the mind of an individual. The invisible realms of mind is where all physical things and physical items begun. Essentially, this physical plane is the effect of the thinking mind. This world is the world of effect. It's the world of outcomes. When you see something, it is already manifest. It is already being manifested. It is an effect. And in the effect of the cause, which is the thinking mind. Therefore, the mind creates thoughts, which is the mental plane. Then after thoughts creates imagination, which is the astral plane. These two are spiritual. They are non-physical. So spirit kind of means non-physical. Then you have the physical planes, the etheric and the physical plane. As above, so below. What happens in the mind is manifest on the physical plane. Like I said, the phone that you are holding, it was a thought, and then it brought down into a physical reality. As above, so below. You change the mind, you change your reality. Your environment. The word environment has ment in it because your environment is mental. So now that you understand this, so what is the world around you? The world around you was created by the mind of God. It was manifested through God's thought. So you are living in the mind of God. You are a thought in the mind of God. God thought you into existence. But like I said, we are all fractals. Everything is fractal. If God exists, this means that you are God, as above, so below. God created you through the thinking mind, and he gave you a thinking mind. So God created the macrocosm. God created the macro, the whole world. He designed the whole world, the sun, the stars, the moving. He designed this. But then he gave you the thinking mind to design your own life and create your own life in his world. You are a microcosm of God's macrocosm. Just like God thought you into existence and the whole world into existence, you are a microcosm thinking your world, your reality into existence. You see this now? Everything is a reflection. Everything is a mirror. Everything is fractal. So in order for you to change your reality, you must change these higher planes. Your thought and imagination are the two key aspects of creating physical reality. Every object you see around you was begun in these higher planes of the non-physical, and they were brought out of spirit into physical matter through the thinking mind and physical action. So now we're going to get a bit deeper. The brain is not the mind. Now that you understand, we have spirit and matter. As above, so below. You have a non-physical side of reality and a physical side of reality. The mind is the spiritual brain. The brain is a physical manifestation, a physical effect of the mind. The mind uses the brain to operate in the physical world, and it's the same with the heart. The soul manifests itself physically through the heart. The heart is a physical manifestation of the soul, of the emotion, thought and emotion, the mind and the soul, the brain and the heart, heaven and earth. So you have the inner world and the outer world, the spiritual, non-physical, and the physical. So we are all on this process of awakening and expansion of our minds into new fields of thought, into new fields of awakening ourselves. Because essentially we are born into this world, but you are born many, many times. You can be born physically and you can be born spiritually. Like I said, everything is fractal. So just like when the baby finds out that there is a world outside of its mother, what does the baby do? The baby seeks a way out of its mother, and then the baby is now born into a new world, a world outside of its mother's womb. It's the same with you and your spiritual process. As your mind becomes aware that there are other realities beyond your physical body, it then seeks a way out. And this is why you are probably watching my YouTube, because you are now on the path. Something within you has guided you to this path of knowledge, truth, enlightenment, and expanding your consciousness. And it is your soul who brought you here. Your soul speaks through emotion, like guidance. Emotion is the language of the soul. When you feel very bad, this is your soul telling you you're not in the right place. You're doing the wrong things. Because the soul is always unfolding its purpose, which is expansion and learning. That is it. The mastery of the self and the learning of the mind is the only thing that counts in the end after this life. So you are on a journey of expansion, of learning, creating, and spiritual rebirth. As above, so below. What does this body tell you? When I see someone overweight, I don't see the overweight. I don't see the body. I see the mind. I see an undisciplined mind. I see a mind that lacks self-control. I see a mind that seeks external validation. That's what I see when I see an overweight person. I don't see his body. I see the result of his mind. Because what does the Bible tell you? You shall know them by their fruits. It's the same saying as above, so below. You shall know them by their fruit. The fruit is their manifestation. Your body is a direct correlation and manifestation of your mind. Your inner world projects your outer world. As within, so without. As above, so below. Now, what do you see when you see this man's body? I see discipline. I see strength, mental strength, not physical strength. I see mental resilience of pain. Because all of this man's mental energy has been manifested physically within his muscle. This body is a direct manifestation of this man's mind's pain and suffering. And it shows discipline. This is why people instantly respect you if you are in shape. You walk into a room and you are in shape, people will instantly give you respect because they know that you are mentally disciplined. The body is a reflection of your inner world, and it's the same with your friends, your family, your connections with people. If you think about yourself very negatively all the time, and you don't have a good connection with yourself, you don't have a connection with your true self, This will manifest into every single relationship you have in your life. If you don't have a good relationship with your inner self, you don't have a good relationship with the people and the friends around you. Because as within, so without. If you think negative about yourself, you will only pick up the negative in other people. If I think very highly of myself and I think very happy and good things about myself, I will then see the good things in other people. Because it's as above, so below. As the inner world is, so is the outer world. It's the same with your life circumstances. Your life is a direct correlation of every thought you thought in the past. If you possess millions of pounds, millions of dollars, this is because you have thought this into physical reality. You live the life you are deserved. You live the life that you manifest through your thought. If you live a very poor life, this is a reflection of your mind. This is a reflection of what you have thought into physical existence. Because like I said, everything begins in the mind, as above, so below. And this is even present within the body. So where is the head? The head is at the very top of the body. And where does all manifestation begin? In the mind. That's where the mind is, in the head. And then the thoughts we think travel down the body into the heart, which is the emotion. Every thought we think is in the emotion. Every thought we think creates an emotion. This emotion then drives the action. Where does the action come from? The feet, because the feet move our body. We move with our feet to take action. Our hands. You see, so the body is even a micro reflection. I can't even say it. Reflection of the order of manifestation. This blew my mind when I figured this out. You see, the head, the thoughts begin here. This is the beginning of all manifestation. Then it comes down to the heart. This is the emotion. Then you take the action. The thought and emotion then sparks the action, which is taken with the hands and the feet. And where's the lowest point on the body? The feet, and that's touching the physical earth. So the head is where the thought is, the non-physical, and the lowest point on the body, which is touching the physical earth. So the head represents spirit, the feet represent matter, spirit and matter. Your room, if I walk into your room and I see a messy room, I don't see the room, I see a messy mind. The room is a reflection of the mind. If you have a messy room, this is your mind. It's an externalization of your unsorted mind, undisciplined mind. So like I said, we are all God, and we must find the God self within us. And I teach all of this inside the Book of Wisdom, Volume 2. This is not just a book, this is a revolution. This is the beginning of a new age with this book. If you have read it, I congratulate you. You should feel very proud of yourself if you have an open mind. You should feel proud of yourself for watching these videos, because not many people have an open mind. Remember this, people. You are special if you're watching these videos. You have the mind. You have the ability to see through the illusion. And I take my hat off to you. You want to take this to the next step? Read the book. Or if you want to take it to the serious levels, join the university. The university, you gain access to every piece of my material that I've ever done, all of my books, all of my lectures that are hidden from YouTube, that are hidden from everywhere else, the lectures that give you real power. And if you feel alone on this journey, we have a conscious community where you can connect with like-minded individuals, because I've been there. I've been there when you feel lonely, because you feel like no one else is thinking the way you are feeling. You can't talk to people about these things because people just think you're crazy. That's why I put together this, so we can connect, so we can unite, so you can connect with people, so you don't feel crazy about thinking about this stuff, learning about this stuff. And if you truly want to level up your life, people, and take your studies serious, this is for you. We do live calls, we do lectures. There's a whole library filled with books you can read. It's the perfect place for the truth seeker. I thank you all for joining. Please leave a like, a comment, a subscribe. Let me know any future videos you want me to make in the comments. Thank you all. Have an amazing day. Hello, Seeker. Welcome to Revival of Symbolism, a channel devoted to the language of esoteric symbolism, helping you discover yourself and expand your consciousness into new realms of thought. I'm Harry B. Joseph, also known as Revival of Wisdom, and in this video, we're going to be discussing the symbol of the double-headed eagle, also known as the emblem to represent the 33rd degree Freemason. So let's jump straight into this. We have a piece of Masonic artwork here, which is what we call a complex symbol. A complex symbol is not just one symbol, but many different symbols in one piece of artwork coming together, forming a greater meaning. So we have many different symbols to break down here. And we're going to start off with a little bit of context so we can understand this symbol. This symbol represents the 33rd degree Freemason. Once you reach the 33rd degree of the York Scottish Rite Mason system. So once you reach this level, this symbolism corresponds to that individual. So therefore, this piece of artwork is representing the consciousness, the mindset, the ways of thinking, the ways of viewing the world of the 33rd degree Mason. It represents the consciousness of the 33rd degree Mason. And this is what esoteric symbolism is about. Esoteric symbolism is symbols and emblems representing states of consciousness and teachings within the forces of consciousness. So let's jump straight into this. The first thing that I see when I look at this piece of symbolism is the double-headed eagle, okay? The double-headed eagle. What is this eagle doing? So the thing with symbolism is that symbolism trains the mind to think in a subconscious way. Now, what do I mean? You know, to the person who thinks in linear thought, straight line thought, A to B thought, they see an eagle. They see a piece of artwork. They just see a piece of artwork with no meaning. But to the person who is trained in the occult, these symbols are representing thought vibrations. One example would be in occult symbolism, what we're meant to do. These symbols represent thought forms in the mental plane, within the mind of the individual. Instead of me just giving you the answers, in the occult, they give you symbols. And what you're meant to do is look at these symbols, stare at these symbols, and see what kind of thought arises in your mind, and follow the chain of thought. This is how you unlock deeper levels of symbolism. This is what we call the chain of thought. Now, what do I mean by the chain of thought? If I look at the eagle, I see an eagle on a basic level thought. But then that thought leads to another connection, because this is how thought works. Whatever the character of the thought we think is, or whatever the vibration of that thought, for example, the character of the thought right now would be an eagle, then that leads to another thought. For example, flying. Then flying is connected like a chain to another thought, higher perspective. So we follow the chain of thoughts until we unlock the deeper levels of the meaning of the symbol. And this is what the occult seeks to do. Symbols make and force the individual to go inward. You look at the symbol, it's not a direct meaning, but you have to go inward and start to think and follow the chain of thought that this symbol is connected to until you find its deeper meaning that relates to the individual, to you, to a teaching or a force of consciousness or a state of consciousness. Okay? It's very difficult to explain in words because symbols transcend the barrier of words. Okay? So what we're looking at here is a eagle. And what does the eagle do? Well, the eagle has the ability to fly above the earth. It looks down upon the earth. In allegory and metaphor, this represents a higher perspective of reality, a higher perspective of the world, of the self. So this is representing the consciousness of the 33rd degree Mason. They have a higher perspective of themselves. Why? Because they studied the mysteries. They studied the Kabbalah. They understand consciousness. They understand the human psyche. They understand the origins of consciousness, the forces of consciousness. They understand how the material world is created through the forces of consciousness. So the eagle represents higher perspective because it can fly above the earth. And here you have the earth, this circle here, this sphere. So it's flying above, symbolizing a higher perspective of reality, a higher perspective of the physical world, the physical body, and the self. Because ultimately, this is what it's about. Freemasonry is about, of course, self-mastery, building a better self. That's what the craft is. But it's ultimately trying to figure out the mysteries of consciousness itself and the origins of reality. We gain this insight through Kabbalah, the study of the Kabbalah tree. So let's not get off track here. So the eagle ultimately represents a higher perspective of reality because it can fly. On a deeper level, it also represents the astral body, because the astral body can fly above the material plane. It has no connection, no limitation to the physical plane. It does have a connection to the physical plane because all of the dimensions, the mental, the astral, the etheric, the physical, are all interwoven to each other. However, it also represents the activation of the light body, hence why we see this light rays around it. But that's a bit too deep for now. Let's go a little bit deeper into about the basics of this symbol. If you look at this eagle here, this eagle's looking backwards, and this eagle's looking forward. So this is forward and backwards. This is symbolizing time. So we have an eagle looking into the past and an eagle looking into the future. This is called the mastery of time. This is how you master time. You have a crown in the middle of these two heads. A crown. A crown is something worn by royalty, and royalty has a lot of power. So this is symbolizing personal power and mastery. How do you gain your personal power and mastery over time, over the past and future? Well, it's very simple. In order to master time and master your future and master your past, you have to look at the forces in your past that have led you to this very moment. Here we have a triangle which represents the number 3. Remember, in this middle, which is the present. So you have to look into the past to see what thought, emotion, action, the number 3, the 3 expressions of consciousness. Consciousness expresses itself through thinking, feeling, and acting. That's how consciousness manifests itself in 3 different ways. You have to look into your past to see what thought, emotion, and action has led you to this very point in your life in the present moment. And what you can do now, which is your power, the present moment is your power, you can ultimately change your thought, emotions, and actions now to create a better future. You observe the past to see what thought, emotions, and actions created your present moment. You notice the mistakes and you change the now through thought, emotion, and action to generate a better future. This is how you master time. Now, keep in mind, this is always in the mind of a 33rd degree Mason. Someone who is highly, mastered, they keep this in mind. Just like they keep in mind what thoughts they are paying attention to. 33rd degree Mason has a lot of self-mastery power, and they hold conscious thought. Most people think unconsciously and without power. A 33rd degree Mason is trained, their mind is trained. Therefore, their mind thinks powerfully. They do not think randomly because they understand thoughts are the seeds to physical creation. All physical creation is a crystallization of thought. So ultimately, this double-headed eagle representing left and right, and the crown in the middle represents mastery over time. That's how you master time. Again, here we have the eagle standing on top of a sword. The sword is, of course, on a basic level, the sword represents power. Because if I hold a sword to you, I hold the power over you, because you will more likely fear. But if we go even deeper, the sword cuts through the air. When you swing it, it moves through the air. Therefore, it's a symbol of the air. Because you can't really make a symbol of the air, because air is invisible. So the sword is a symbol of the air. And the air is one of the 4 physical elements in alchemy. We have water, symbolizing emotion. We have fire, representing the spirit. We have earth, symbolizing the physical body. Then we have air, symbolizing the mental body. The mental body. So the mental body is symbolized by this sword. A sword has to be continually sharpened. If you don't sharpen the sword over a long period of time after using it, it will become dull and it won't be very effective. This is an allegory symbolizing the human mind, because the human mind is like a sword. If you do not sharpen your mind, you will lose control of your mind. When you stop doing the meditations, when you stop being conscious, when you stop doing the affirmations, the mind falls back into old, unconscious thinking patterns, and we start to lose control of it. The mind is seen as a sword within the occult, because this is pretty much your tool. Your mind is your tool. This, just like the sword is a tool. Your mind is a tool to create reality. So we need to make sure this tool is always sharpened, that we stay on top of the mind, hence why the eagle is on top of the sword, symbolizing control over the sword, mastery over thought. This also goes into thought forms. In the occult, there's something called thought forms. Thought forms are basically taught to the individual and understood by the individual, who understands that the mind is not just in the brain. The mind is a part of a mental field. All around you, there is not just a field of energy. There's also a field of mind surrounding you. It's a mental universe. And this field of mind is what we call the mental plane. The field of mind is where all of the possible thoughts in the universe infinitely express itself. So each area has different thought forms. Each postcode, each place you go has different thought forms. This is why if you walk into a cathedral, for example, an ancient, amazing structure, your mind instantly becomes, you're amazed. You feel different when you walk into these areas, because all around you is a mental field. And there's something called thought forms. Thought forms are basically what religion call spirit guides or angels, helpers. This is what thought forms are. Thought forms are basically, if you dwell on the thought that you are going to lose your girlfriend, for example. Let's use a negative example here, because a lot of people can relate to this. Or your boyfriend. Let's keep it simple. Everyone can relate to this at some point in their life, hopefully. Or, if not, it's okay. No worries. It's just an example that most people can relate to. If you constantly dwell on the thought that you are going to lose your partner, what we have to understand is that the mental plane, what we have to understand is that the forces within consciousness, within what we call the universe, is always trying to give you what you want to create. That's your right. The universe or mind or consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is always trying to unfold what you want to create. It doesn't know the difference between something you don't want to create or do want to create. Whatever you think about is ultimately what this power of consciousness or the universe will try and manifest. This is why we have to gain mastery over our thought, because thought are basically the seeds that we impress into the dimensions. So we have a mental dimension, we have a higher, middle, lower subplanes of the mental dimension or the mental plane. Then that's just thought. The mental plane is just thought. Below the mental plane, thought takes the body of imagination, which is what we call the astral plane. And the astral plane also has higher, middle, and lower subplanes. Then we have the etheric plane. The etheric plane is basically an energetic copy of the physical plane. So you have an etheric brain, you have an etheric body. It's just basically an energetic, exact copy of everything that is physical. So if we think something within our mental body and we dwell on that thought, the more attention you give, the more you feel that anxiety about losing your partner, you're literally forcing energy and direction and attention into this thought idea, which manifests itself within your own aura. Your aura is basically, it's not just your electromagnetic field. Your aura has many different levels. It has a physical level, it has an etheric level, an astral level, and a mental level, like layer. So it has a layer for each one of these bodies. If you dwell on this thought and you keep giving attention, power, you start to imagine this because you're worrying about it. You literally create a elemental or energetic substance that clouds your aura. And this is what people have been called demons, people call spirit guides, whatever you want to call it. This is what it is. It's a thought form. But this is not something that's come after you. This is something that the individual has created. And wherever they go, this cloud of thought forms that they've manifested literally clouds their aura. You can see it within the astral plane and the mental plane. You can see how it's affecting them. Wherever you go, you start to randomly think about it. You keep thinking about it. You know, it's infecting you. It's like a demon. It's tormenting you. But it's simply just a force, an astral force, and a mental cloud that they've manifested within their aura. Thought forms. The 33rd degree Mason has very powerful thought forms. And this is, you know, if you're a Mason yourself, and you're not aware of this, this is why it's great to be around a 33rd degree Mason within your lodge, because they have very powerful thought forms, and you being in the present of them, you're also taking on his thought forms, and they can assist you. We're all affecting each other through thought transference through the mental field or the mental plane. Okay. Now I'm not going to go too deep into that because, you know, people can use that knowledge for really bad. But ultimately it represents thought forms also, symbolized by these clouds. Clouds are a symbol of thought forms, because they manifest themselves as basically like a cloud form energy within the aura of an individual. So this represents the mastery over the intellectual side of consciousness, of thought, sharpening the mind, gaining mastery. Then we have 33 in a triangle. A triangle in alchemy symbolizes, well, the upwards triangle, the upright facing triangle symbolizes the element of fire. The downright facing triangle represents the element of water. So an upright triangle represents fire. Fire is very transformative. If you place, I don't know, a pencil into fire, the fire will burn it down into its raw material. And this is ultimately what this triangle represents. It represents the consciousness of the 33rd degree Mason, who has basically transformed themselves from ego consciousness, only dwelling within the limits of their ego, their old belief systems of thinking they were the body, only reacting to 5 sense thinking, linear thinking, low base consciousness, not knowing right from wrong. It's basically transforming themselves. They have burnt themselves down to their raw soul form, and they understand that they are a soul, and they've experienced this, by casting off all the attachments to consciousness. This is why there is the number 33 within this triangle, because 33 is the age that Jesus dies. It's also the number of the Kabbalah tree, because the Kabbalah tree has 10 Sephiroths, 22 pathways, and one hidden sphere called Dot, which all adds up to 33. And the Kabbalistic tree of life, just to give you a bit of context, basically is a blueprint of how God manifested the world, and you are an expression of God. So it's also representing how your soul fell into matter, how consciousness creates matter. And it's also a diagram of how reality is not fixed, but it's ever unfolding creation through these forces of consciousness. So the Kabbalah teaches a way back to source consciousness if you go from the bottom of the tree to the top. And in order to go to source consciousness, you have to die symbolically. It's the death of the self, the death of the ego, the death of the old self, the old belief systems that you had. That has to die. The old person has to die to give room to be spiritually reborn, so you can actually figure out who you actually are. Your ego has to die. Now, that's not saying ego death, but you have to basically give away all of your old belief systems to then be spiritually reborn. That's why Jesus dies at 33 and is resurrected. Ice melts from ice into water at 33rd degree. So it's symbolic of transforming. And again, the upright triangle is the fire element, symbolizing burning things to its base raw material. 33, which is again death and resurrection. So it's all about burning the old self and being spiritually reborn again. This is the teachings of Hermeticism, Christianity. It's in everything. You'll see this symbolism or this story of death and resurrection absolutely everywhere in the ancient myths, because it's all talking about the same thing. You have to symbolically die. You have to kill off the old self to be spiritually reborn, to be initiated into a mystery school. So the 33rd degree Masons basically saying, well, they have resurrected. They have resurrected the connection to their soul, because as we grow older in this life, we lose connection with our true authentic self as the ego develops as we get older. And if we don't stop developing the ego, we never actually connect with who we truly are, which is a divine, immortal, formless being who has the infinite power of creation. This is what you actually are. Okay, so it's also symbolizing the union of opposites, hence why we have a double-headed eagle here. It has opposites. Obviously, this is massive within the occult. You see this everywhere, union of opposites. Okay, so union of opposites goes from, basic teachings to the most advanced teachings that most minds are not ready for. Union of opposites is on a basic level is union of the mind and the heart, going from mind consciousness, which is basically ego, the lower self. That's not to say the mind isn't powerful, but that is the house of the lower self. The ego. It's the house of the ego. So we have to learn how to use the mind for what its proper use. The mind's proper use is for the soul to create. However, we're not taught this in school, so we've basically developed a false personality within our minds, and our minds have become a vessel for a false identity. So what we need to do is integrate the heart, which is the soul self, the true self, with the true powers of the mind. And the mind is basically a powerhouse of creation, infinite possibility. And that's the mind's true usage is for creation, not a false identity. So it's about integrating the mind and heart. It's also symbolizing a balanced mind, and we do this by aligning the left and right hemispheres of the brain, which help you perceive reality for what it truly is. Because the two double-headed eagles, they're joined together, so it's union of opposites. So it's about reintegrating the female and male aspects of self, such as the left and right hemispheres of the brain, the mind and the heart, all working as one system. When we align the left and right brain, we see reality for what it truly is. Now, what do I mean? Most 90% of people, I'm not putting anyone down. If you relate with this, it's fine. We're all here to work on ourselves. So I'm not putting anyone down. People with a left hemisphere dominated view on reality see things as a very logical. They see reality logically, basically. Now, what do I mean? They see things as this is science, that's mathematics, that's religion, that's metaphysics. They're all separate and divided because that's what the left hemisphere does. The left hemisphere basically dissects everything down. The way the brain works is truly magical. The right hemisphere of the brain allows us to basically see a bigger perception on reality. It sees the bigger picture. The bigger picture, for example, the woods. It sees the woods as a whole unified woods. But then the left hemisphere of the brain takes that view and perception of the woods, dissects it down and analyzes it into individual branches, trees, leaves, animals, insects. But in reality, it's all one, because all is manifested from the one God, the one source, the unmanifested consciousness, the unmanifested force. So it's union of this. We have to view the world as in, yes, everything is one, but I'm also living in my personal consciousness. Yes, there is a collective consciousness. We're all one consciousness, but I also have my personal consciousness. I need to think about both, making sure that my thought, emotion, and action is contributing towards the evolution of myself and the evolution of humanity. A person who is only left hemisphered only thinks about themselves mainly, 90% of the time. They only, they're trapped in ego, and the individual can't see pattern recognition, really. Pattern recognition is more the right hemisphere because it sees the whole. So it's about aligning the brain hemisphere so we can actually see reality for what it is, so we can, without distortion or illusion, and be neutral. Okay, we have light rays. Light rays are very symbolic within the occult, especially Freemasonry. Light rays are symbolic of force and form. These are the two dualities within the occult: force and form. The internal world is force, external world is form. Everything outside of you is a formation of force. No force ever takes place on the physical plane. All force takes place within mental, astral, or etheric. The physical world is formation. Therefore, what is the force that drives you? What is the desire that's a force? Emotion, force, thought, force. What are the forces driving you to take action in the physical world? And we need to gain mastery over these forces. Light is also a symbolic of knowledge, because knowledge is considered light. This is why Freemasons say going from darkness to light. Darkness is ignorance. People who are only aware of their five senses, they don't want to know anything else. Their minds are completely shut off. I have my belief system. That's it. I'm happy. I don't care. That's their ego limiting themselves and building their own prison. Light, on the other hand, is about going from a state of unconsciousness, of not being aware, into a state of light. Light makes things reveal itself. If I shine light on you when it's dark, I reveal truth. You're there, you're manifested. If you're in a dark room and I shine a torch on you, you're revealed. The veil is lifted. The darkness is gone. So this is symbolic of light revealing higher truths to yourself as you walk the path of self-realization and gnosis. So light is symbolic of this also. They have high amounts of intelligence, a 33rd degree Mason. They have a lot of light. They have a lot of knowledge. They've researched a lot of things. They're intelligent in many different areas of life, within speech, within grammar, the way they portray thought, their mastery, their level of mastery, their understanding of themselves is very advanced. They also know a lot about physiology, about the brain, about the body, life, consciousness, astrology. They know a lot. They have a lot of light. 33rd degree Mason. Me, myself, I'm not a part of Freemasonry, and if I ever do become a part of Freemasonry or any order, I will openly share it to all of you. This information has come from following the chains of thought through self-study and self-realization, and studying Freemasonry from an external view. You can gain a lot of insight just by studying symbolism itself. Masonry is about being a builder. That's what the word mason is. Mason is about building. The word mason means builder, and it's about building the self. We're all building either our prison of our soul, or we're building our freedom of our soul. Every single one of you. Every time you reject something that if you did something wrong and you reject you being wrong, someone tells you were wrong, but you reject that, or they try to give you a piece of information and you reject it, you're building your mind's prison, stone by stone. But the person who has an open mind to all things is freeing their mind, freeing their soul. So we're all builders of our soul, and we're all builders of reality also. And we're all building Earth. This is the building project is Earth. We're all contributing towards it through our thoughts, emotions, and actions. These are our God-gifted powers: thought, emotion, action. These are our rights to operate in the world. These are your buttons to control the character in the game. So I hope this information has given you a lot of insight about this symbol. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you wish to go even deeper, because the occult goes deeper than you could ever possibly imagine, I have a whole private community filled with hundreds of hours of esoteric teachings, self-mastery, things. We have a whole library. If you wish to go deeper, the invite is there and the door is open. I'll leave a link in the description. Have an amazing day, everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about the evolution of consciousness. You are born human. However, you possess consciousness, which is the awareness behind your being, the awareness behind your thoughts, the experiencer behind your five senses, the experiencer, the observer behind your thought, emotions, and senses. You are an eye, an invisible consciousness looking through a lens, which is your body. Your body produces this physical world that you experience. Your brain produces this world. Your brain and body is a technological computer. However, you are an infinite, ever-expanding consciousness behind this physical body. And there is an evolution of consciousness, a cosmic journey of expansion. And this is why we see so much pyramid symbolism in the occult and esoteric world, and especially within Freemasonry. Because the pyramid represents climbing, an evolution, a raising state of consciousness, a journey. Steps symbolize a journey upwards. This is the raising and the evolution of consciousness, our inner world, the transmutation of our inner selves, of our souls and consciousness and our minds. So when we see this pyramid, we're seeing a evolution, a way up to source consciousness. And the eye in the pyramid represents your source consciousness. It represents illumination. It represents divine guidance through this evolution of consciousness. This is why we see the ladder. Consciousness is ever expanding on an infinite journey of evolution. Each individual is a part of this cosmic process, contributing towards the ongoing expansion of both mind and awareness. As we evolve, we collectively explore deeper levels of existence, expanding the boundaries of thought and consciousness. The mind has the ability to expand infinitely into new realms of thought, into new dimensions of mind. The mind cannot be filled up. It is not a physical substance. The body can be filled up because it is a physical thing, but you cannot fill the mind. Therefore, the mind is constantly expanding, ever expanding into new fields of thought. So what we see in Freemasonry, the ladder, is again a journey, an elevation of consciousness. When we are born with an infant consciousness, and as we gain older, we gain an adult consciousness. Our inner world, our inner mind, and our emotional intellect changes and evolves. We are significantly different from when we were very young as an infant. It's because our consciousness evolutes, it changes, it alters like water. So, just like this evolution of your own consciousness as growing up, there is consciousness of beings existing in cycles beyond our own. And their consciousness is unimaginably different from ours. They operate on a higher level of understanding and knowing, experiencing reality in ways that transcend our current comprehension. Our minds right now cannot comprehend the highest states of consciousness. There are entities, there are beings beyond our own, existing in higher dimensions of consciousness that we cannot comprehend because they have expanded. They are on a further way up the ladder of consciousness. However, we are all on the same journey. None of us can take the same journey. There is one ultimate goal, reaching source consciousness. However, this is always ever expanding. However, we are all on a different journey. There is one truth, one source, one goal. However, there are billions in different ways of reaching it, and we are all on these different paths to source consciousness, to this ladder, this evolution of universal evolution. Okay? Their awareness is attuned to new dimensions of existence, reflecting a more advanced stage in the cosmic journey of consciousness evolution. So when you take DMT, you are shot into these higher realms of consciousness where you meet these beings who look similar to these images. They are not speaking to you physically. They don't speak to you three-dimensionally through vibration and words. They speak to you mentally. If you have done DMT, then you know this. And if you have met these beings, then you know this. You might have even met some of these types of beings on mushrooms or any psychedelic drugs. Because ultimately, when you take these mind-altering substances, it's altering your consciousness. It's merging your consciousness with the spirit of that substance. And you are essentially attuning your mind to higher dimensions of consciousness. That's why we say we're getting high when we take these substances. Therefore, when you meet these beings on DMT, you are essentially meeting beings who are attuned to higher dimensions of consciousness, and they speak to you mentally. They speak to you telepathically through thought, because the universe is mental. Everything exists within the mind. The way you are now, your physical existence, is a state of mind. Mind, thought creates matter. Spirit and matter are two opposing ways of thinking. If we have a very spiritual mind, we have an expanded mind, we are a spiritual person through the mind. However, if we have a very low state of consciousness where we think about food, sex, lust, and all physical things, then we have a physical consciousness. Matter and spirit are two opposing forces, two ways of thinking. The mind attunes itself to different levels of understanding in different dimensions. So, essentially, this is what we're looking at. The body is a vessel for the fluidic, formless consciousness, a temple that houses the essence of our awareness. While the five senses are limited to perceiving only the physical plane, the mind transcends these limitations, capable of perceiving the full scope of reality. It is through the mind that we access deeper truths beyond the material, tapping into boundless nature of existence. Physical existence is a thin band, a thin layer of reality. It's like 0.001% of reality. And your five senses are only tuned into this layer of reality. But the five senses are, by design, only allowed to perceive physicality. But the mind has the power to expand beyond this physical five sense state. The mind has the power to expand and evolute. It is a conscious decision whether you want to take this path or not. You can stay in a three-dimensional way of thinking, or you can expand your consciousness from within. It's not an external journey. There is no God going to save you. You must save yourself. Therefore, behind every single one of these eyes is the same source consciousness. However, we are all different cells in a different journey. The organs in your body, the cells in your body are all alive. They all possess same consciousness, universal consciousness. However, we are all on a different journey of evolution. As above, so below. As the baby is in the mother's womb, when the baby becomes conscious, there is a world outside of its mother. What does it do? It presses and seeks a way out to be born in the other world outside of its mother. It is the same with your consciousness, your mind. When your mind becomes aware that there is realities beyond the immediate surroundings, it seeks a way out. And this is exactly what I'm doing to you now. I am now expanding your mind and telling you there is other ways of reality. There's other dimensions of consciousness which you can access through inner transmutation, through different ways of thinking, spiritualism, and meditating and connecting with yourself and detaching from external things. We can upgrade our consciousness. Your body is a womb. Why Jesus says you must be born again to see the kingdom of God, because you are born physically and then you must be born again spiritually, awakening your inner consciousness. So like I said, as the baby is in the womb, it's the same principle. As above, so below. You were a baby, you were in your mother's womb, and you figured out there is a world outside of your mother, so you seek to weigh out your mother to be born in another world. It's the same now. You must do this now. This is your spiritual evolution. This is the evolution of consciousness. It's ever expanding. When you die, this is a transition. You must learn to not fear death. This is another part of your spiritual journey. You must master death. Therefore, like I said before, the mind has limitless capacity to expand into new realms of thought, continuously exploring uncharted ideas and concepts without boundaries. The mind can ever expand. It can never be filled. It can never ever know everything. There is infinite fields of knowledge, infinite fields of thought. Your current state is just one stage on an infinite pathway. You won't remain human forever. The human experience is a crucial phase where we learn to balance polarities, master the fundamental laws of the cosmos. It is a period of growth and transformation, preparing us for the next stages in our cosmic evolution. The goal is to strive for perfection, yet the true perfection is unattainable. It's like a tunnel, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And as you walk through this tunnel, the light is ever moving backwards. You should forever seek to meet that light, but you will never meet that light because consciousness is ever expanding. You should strive for perfection, yet knowing that perfection is forever unattainable. The journey is endless, with each step revealing deeper layers of understanding and experience. The pursuit of growth and expansion is itself the essence of our evolution. You can find all of this knowledge in the amazing book that I have read for years. I have read this book, The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, by M. Dorial, translated by M. Dorial. I'm telling you now, this book, now that I've told you this, you have some context on the book. The whole book is about evolution of consciousness. He's talking about higher dimensions beings. He's talking about how you can transcend this physical plane. It is truly the most amazing book you will probably read. One of the best spiritual texts you'll see. It's hard to understand, so you must read it over and over again. And the more your mind progresses, like for me, I read this every couple months, and the more I learn about consciousness, the more I expand my own consciousness. And every time I read this book, I pick out something new that just completely blows my mind, because you can only understand this book to your level of consciousness, to your level of understanding. So now that I've told you all this information, go and read this book and it will absolutely blow your mind. And so will the Book of Wisdom Volume 2, which is now available. I released it the other day. I'm just going to read a page out now. This page is called Spirit and Matter. The Earth is not merely a dense, lifeless rock drifting through space. It possesses spirit, a living essence that animates its form. But what do we mean by spirit? Spirit in esoteric terms refers to the energy, the life force, animating the principles infused in matter. So essentially, what this page is talking about is how everything has spirit, consciousness within it. You are the middle, you are spirit and matter. You have the ability to expand your mind to the God self and raise above our animal instinct, our material self, and know the divine and expand. Animals cannot do this. Animals are not self-aware. Humans possess self-awareness. We can observe our consciousness. We can say, why do I exist? We can look in the mirror and know that we need growth. And this is what Anunnaki means. Anu means above. Anu was the supreme god of the sky, which is a metaphor. He represents spirit above, heaven. Anu came down to earth and married Ki, the goddess of the earth, which represents matter. It's a myth, it's an allegory. Anu married Ki and gave birth to the Anunnaki. Spirit came down and infused with matter and gave birth to the human, which is you. You are spirit infused in matter, Anu and Ki, Anunnaki. You are the Anunnaki. And this is just one of the teachings in my book. Honestly, this book is absolutely amazing. If you truly, truly want to expand your consciousness, give this book a read. And obviously, if you're inside the university, I give you this book for free, a paperback version. If you join the university, follow the steps inside of the general chat, you'll be able to download this book, or sorry, not download it, order a paperback for free. All you have to do is pay for the shipping. You'll also gain amazing knowledge inside of my library, where your mind will just be overblown with the amount of esoteric books. There's over 45 rare occult books, plus you get a PDF of the Volume 1 and Human Health Guide. You get reoccurring updates where I expand on symbolism, occultism, where you will just feel absolutely amazing once you understand esotericism in yourself. You'll also learn how to create the dream reality that you want with the Manifestation Mastery course, where I teach you how your consciousness creates reality. You'll have a real lectures where I post lectures on symbolism, occultism, esotericism. There's a conscious community and live calls and Q&A where you can ask me questions and I'll answer your questions. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined the university. Thank you for even liking and watching this video. Any support I just appreciate every single one of you. Please, if you can, leave a comment and a like on this video and let me know any videos you want me to make in the future. And I will start uploading a lot more to the YouTube. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in today. Have an amazing day. You are not breathing correctly. 98% of people only use a third of their lungs capacity, which is shallow breathing, which ages you, lowers your brain capacity, and also lowers your state of consciousness. So it's essential that you breathe consciously on a day-to-day basis, because this is what truly elevates your consciousness. I am going to give you the key for you to raise your consciousness just through breathing alone. Such a simple thing, but yet the most effective way for raising your state of consciousness and becoming more spiritually and mentally advanced. So tune in for this video and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it and the symbolism behind breathing. Air is more than just air. It carries electromagnetic energy. So now I'm going to give you the science behind this spiritual truth. This invisible force is what sustains all physical life, providing the life force energy essential for existence. electromagnetism. Everything is fed off electromagnetism. Your body is an electromagnetic battery. Now, we can prove that air carries electromagnetism just by doing a simple test, a simple scientific experiment, by getting liquid oxygen and pouring it between a north and south magnetic pole, two polar opposite magnets. We see that the liquid does not fall straight through it. It is sucked, it is magnetically attracted to these two opposing forces, opposing magnets. This is proof that air, liquid oxygen carries electromagnetism. When you are breathing electromagnetism, the essential life force behind all living beings. This is known as energy or prana, chi, ether, or spirit. This is all the same thing. Air is not just empty space, it is energy, it is prana, it is life force, it is spirit, it is ether, chi, prana. You are an electromagnetic being. Your consciousness is in direct correlation with your electromagnetic aura or biofield around your body. Your state of consciousness is mirrored within this field around your body. Now, your breath, when you breathe in, you're breathing electromagnetism or life force. Breath is the vital link between the physical and the spiritual, bridging the body with the soul. Through breath, we connect with both tangible world and deeper, the unseen realms of energy and consciousness. Breathing deeply and properly elevates our consciousness, enhancing the brain's functions, heightening the sensitivity of our five senses. It also brings a profound calmness to the mind, creating a state of clarity and inner peace. Like I said earlier, breathing properly is the fastest way to elevate your consciousness. It is the fastest way because breathing, when you stop breathing, what happens? You lose physical consciousness. Your body will shut down if you do not breathe in this vital electromagnetic energy in the oxygen. If your body does not get this for 5 minutes or however you can last without breathing, this makes you lose physical consciousness. Your body will not survive without this essential life force energy. Therefore, air is one of the most overlooked things. This is why we see the symbolism of Buddha having a big belly. Why does he have a big belly? Because it's symbolizing breath work, proper spiritual breath work, the certain teachings of breath work, of when you breathe in through the nose, you have to breathe in through the nose. You don't want to breathe in through the mouth because the nose acts as a filter which catches dust particles and filters out the air before it enters the lungs. The mouth does not do that. The nose is for breathing inward. We breathe in through the nose, and when we breathe in, we breathe into our belly, not our lungs. When we breathe into our belly and our belly expands outwards, we are then moving this energy down from the nose down the spinal column. And when we breathe back out, the belly goes in, which is raising the energy up the spinal column, back out through the mouth. This is the true way of breathing, because when we breathe, we are moving energy. We are moving electromagnetic energy. When we breathe in through the nose, the energy travels down the spinal column. And when we breathe out, we are raising this energy back up the spine, some of it going out the mouth, and some of it reaching the brain, activating dormant brain cells in the brain. But when we breathe, we need to make sure we are using 100% of our lungs' capacity, because the lungs is what transforms this special energy into consciousness, physical consciousness. So this is why Buddha has a big belly. It's not because he was fat. It's not because he was overweight. It's symbolism. It's symbolism of breath work. So try this. Do this for 2 minutes while you watch this video. Breathe in through the mouth as hard as you can until you no longer can fill any more air into your lungs and belly. Breathe it into your belly, not your lungs. And breathe out through the mouth. Do this for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, however long. I promise you, breath affects your consciousness. You will notice the difference. If you do it quicker, the quicker it'll affect your consciousness and you might go lightheaded. But that lightheaded is you activating your spirit, your energy body. So try this just when watching this video. When you breathe consciously, you are renewing both your energy body and astral body, aligning your consciousness with a higher state. This practice feeds new life force energy into the body, revitalizing and enhancing your overall well-being. Like I said, your brain requires the most amount of oxygen. When we have shallow breathing, this is reducing the brain's capacity. Because when we are not breathing properly, which 98% of people are only using a third of their lungs capacity, we are essentially only using a third of our consciousness because your breath is directly correlated to your consciousness, your state of consciousness. When you breathe in through the mouth, out through the mouth, out in through the nose, out through the mouth, consciously and deeply for 5 minutes, you will notice that your senses are more powerful and sensitive. Your brain is quicker. What's the word? It processes information quicker. You become quicker. You become a superhuman, and you feel more spiritual because it activates your spirit, your astral and energy body. So when we meditate, it's definitely important to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth as deeply as possible to align with a higher state of consciousness. And this is the easiest way to separate your consciousness from the body. When you breathe in deeply for long periods of time, while meditating, while taking no thought, when no thought is present and you gain a rhythm of deep breathing, this is the gateway. This is the gateway to opening your consciousness. Because when you stop thinking, other aspects of your consciousness can open up. All of our lives we've been thinking, which is blocked off the higher states of consciousness. So breathing is very, very important. It affects our overall well-being. And this is Yahweh, the in and the out of breathing. When we breathe in, this is Yah. You can hear it. It sounds like Yah. And when we breathe out, that is Way. This is the name of God, apparently. But God is within you. You can connect with God. You can connect with source consciousness within you by breathing, by raising your state of consciousness through breathing and meditation. This is why the Bible tells you the Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. You are consciousness. You are God. You're an extension of God's consciousness. Job 27:3. As long as my breath is in me and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. The Spirit of God is through breath. John 20:22. And when he said this, he breathed on them and said to them, receive the Holy Spirit. The word spirit means breath. In Greek, Hebrew, Latin, it all means breath or wind or air. The Holy Spirit is a certain way of breathing, a breathing technique that elevates your consciousness, that syncs you up to a holy consciousness, an elevated state. That is the Holy Spirit. That's why it tells you in the Bible, when he said this, he breathed onto them. He breathed onto them and said, receive the Holy Spirit. You must breathe to receive the Holy Spirit. When you breathe, you are renewing the body's energy. You're taking in new life force, which is regenerating your cells, regenerating your brain, nervous system, and also connecting with consciousness, pure consciousness. This is not something that we should be doing during meditation. Yes, it is. We should be doing it during meditation, but this is something that we need to apply all of the time. This is the fastest way you can raise your consciousness. I just want to say, all of this knowledge is inside of the Book of Wisdom, Volume 2. Make sure to give a like and a comment on this video to help the algorithm. And let me know what you think about the last book or this book if you have read them, to let the new people know what they're looking at with this book. This is truly life-changing, the Volume 2 and Volume 1 is truly life-changing. You can get them in a bundle also. Learn hidden knowledge inside of the Ethereal University. This is where truth seekers